What is going on, all the Full Senders all around the world? We are back with the 6th episode of the Full Send Studios podcast. I am joined here, once again, as always, with my good friends, Ian and Darren. And we are, oh my god, and professional stream, by the way, professional stream, off to a strong start. So anyway, some of the topics for this week will include the Gather updates. What else do we got here? We got a lot to talk about this week, as always, as I've said the last probably 7 weeks now. So anyway, we have the Gather updates. We're sticking with the two big segments that we started rolling out in the last couple of weeks, coming at you with Movie of the Week and Game of the Week. A few random topics that are, related to the gaming community. The gaming community. We're going to talk about Guardian Con. We're going to talk about Prime Day 2018 and a few other random things. Let's see. So anyway, as per usual, Darren, if you would like to kick off the Gather Talk, talking about maybe your development streams that you've been doing.
Yeah, we hit on this last week as well, but we're doing developer live streams where we kind of work on the game on stream, and you can come watch that. There's no schedule on those just happen randomly whenever I happen to be working on the game and available to stream. So
when your computer's working?
Yeah, but that's all fixed now. I had some issues with my computer.
Hopefully OBS doesn't crash this week.
What?
Hopefully we don't crash in the middle of the stream.
Well,
Did you guys see did you watch the YouTube video of that?
No.
I threw in a little title screen. It's for when we went offline. It says OBS crashed, and then at one point in the actual, right after we came back online, you were like, have fun fixing that, Cody, and I threw in a little fix it right above your head. It was pretty good, dude. High quality video editing from yours truly. Thanks.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So computer issues are pretty much fixed. Had some issues with RAM and whatnot. Had a lot of crashing and blue screening and things of that nature.
I've been bumping my computer and it's just been turning off. So that's been
You messaged me
today.
today.
That cord has been messed up since I got it.
You messaged me today. You're like, I kicked my power cord and my computer reset.
Yeah.
There's probably 20 power cords.
No, I don't think it's the cord. It might be the cord, but I think it's the actual plug on it. I really have to pull for it to come out.
On the cord or your computer?
Where the cord connects to the computer.
Okay, but are you saying the part is the cord or the part is your computer that's messed up?
I don't. I think it's my computer.
I feel like it's not.
It's probably the cord. I mean, it might be the cord.
I almost guarantee
came
you
with
it's
the
computer,
I think.
Well,
so I was like,
they're all the same.
I would assume that.
But anyways,
it's working out.
computer issues, things like that have been mostly fixed, obviously, except for Cody's power cord. We'll look into that.
bends the case when I try to pull it out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Does it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it really does.
Are you sure you're using the right type of cord?
I mean, it turns on, so it's the right type of cord for me.
Oh.
Okay.
Any cord I can play Overwatch is a cord for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
last night we did a development, or I did, for not very long, like 2 hours. Worked on some enemies and AI stuff.
What time was that, Darren?
2:30.
I was gonna say I left at 2:30, and I got
a notification
on the way
after
home.
you left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mostly got everything fixed after you left, or right as you were leaving. But yeah, started working on AI and stuff for the enemy. If you're interested in that, you can check out that video. It's in the little videos tab up top.
Yes. Probably put it on YouTube too.
Yeah.
So we can get a big 8 views off of it again. Just kidding.
So we got that going on. We'll have more of those coming up. Probably a lot more of them this weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Next weekend, this weekend, whatever you want to call it. Working on AI again, fixing up the weapon system a little more, things like that. What else do we have for the Gather?
Let's see. I wanted to talk about the YouTube just a little bit. So if you subscribe to the YouTube, you know that we did a big 0 videos this week.
Did we?
It's mainly
0?
because we didn't have anything put on there.
I just assumed we had
really
one.
That cool happened.
Well, yeah. We need to do more.
We got some development live streams
today, Junior.
Should we put a computer in the corner, or a camera in the corner, and just watch us play video games? Is that entertaining?
Just right.
Yeah,
by the
just
door.
right by the door, and
We'll just constantly 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
Just whatever happens.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of crazy.
Well, you
That'd
watch
be a bad idea.
watch
That would be a
Darren
horrible
scream.
idea.
What were we playing yesterday where you just screamed? Was it we were playing Overwatch?
I was mad
second
because
Overwatch game.
it crashed.
Were you? No, we were playing something. You screamed. I looked over and you had your headphones like about to slam.
We weren't playing something. That was when my computer blue screen.
Was it?
Because my computer blue screen, and then I turned it back on, and it blue screen while I was typing in my password.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Me and Darren's desk are right beside each other, so I hear all his weird noises that he makes, and also watch all his like movements whenever he's mad, and you can tell when he's getting mad. It's really funny.
Well, you
Cody's
know, when your
behind me. I just
computer
hear him
blue
yelling.
screens like 6 times in 5 minutes, you get a
Yeah.
little upset.
It was
upsetting.
literally blue screen. You looked at me, and then I was like, "What are you gonna do?" And then I looked over again, and it was still blue screened, and it went back to 10%. And I was like, and Darren like had his headphones halfway off his head, like he was gonna throw them.
Oh, dude, come on. We gotta stop throwing headphones. Let's throw.
I
something
haven't thrown
cheaper.
headphones
He
for a
hasn't thrown
long
headphones.
time.
I think last time he threw headphones was because of Insurgency, and we haven't played that in a while.
No, it was Overwatch.
Was
I
it?
broke a headset on Overwatch.
I wasn't here
Yep.
for that then.
It was my last. It was the same headset I have now, but another. I had this headset twice. I bought another one after I broke that one.
No.
Cody was there when I broke it. I think I threw it into the kitchen.
Yeah, you did. You gunned it, dude. Was going for that shot put,
Yeah.
trying to be that Olympic.
I have multiple videos on my phone of Darren raging
Well,
and throwing headphones.
usually it's just for the memes, but there's
Darren
times that it gets
getting
bad.
excited because he's doing so well that he throws his headphones. I have videos of that too. He pretty much yells and sounds exactly the same, whether he's happy or angry.
You can't tell.
You can't really tell.
You don't know. You don't know whether I'm popping off or getting popped off.
yeah, they sound very, very similar.
Well, you know
that's
Darren's
for
about to
sure.
pop off because he announces it to the whole world. He's like, I'm about to pop off.
Well,
I'm about to wipe him.
only when
I'm
I'm
about to
Reaper, though.
wipe
I don't.
him.
I don't really
Wipe
do
him.
that when I'm Widow. I do it.
Well, 'cause you
after I
can't
wipe
wipe
him
people as Widow 'cause you
Yes,
can't hit a shot.
Well, okay, now, Ian,
Ooh.
you're cutting a
Hey,
little
we need
deep
to
there.
do a 1v1 and then put that on the YouTube channel
Oh.
and settle it. We'll sell the who's better.
I could shout cows.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was pretty
good.
lit. I got the best Widow kill ever on you
Yeah.
in M1v1.
I'm gonna have to make the the noise gate very specific because it's pretty difficult to not hear you guys screaming things that maybe our audience on YouTube doesn't want to hear.
Well,
you know.
I mean, we can.
That was I was thinking about uploading the last one to somewhere, and it just would have gotten
Well,
taken down
every
and
time one of us
gotten me
kills
a
someone and
community
dies,
strike
we both
immediately.
just start yelling.
Yeah.
Like, no matter if we killed him or if we lost, we just yell.
Yeah.
So it's whatever, you know.
I mean,
It's fine. You know.
it's just how it goes when
Yeah,
you're
but,
playing
hey,
over meme, you know what I
Full
mean?
Send Studios 1v1 might come at you, Cody. Casting it, maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see what
dude.
happens.
Pogs
If
in
Cody,
chat.
if Darren's computer is working,
You know
let's him
what?
play Overwatch for more than
It's
10 minutes.
fixed. My computer's way better than yours, so
We'll
I don't want
see.
to talk about it. I offered it to you the other night.
You did. You said, Ian, just take my computer. Is what you said.
It was during the 6 blue screens in 5 minutes. I just got up and I was like,
He just laid on the couch.
I'm done with technology. I'm just gonna lay on the couch for the rest of my life. Ian, you can have my computer.
Darren, you just
And
need to be
I asked him if he wanted to shake on it, and he said no.
Well, you just need to be a console gamer, Darren.
Oh,
That Xbox One X won't fit.
me and Darren.
That's true.
Me and
Well,
Well, on Rock Band it will.
Yeah.
Here, this is all right. We're rolling in the next segment, movie of the week. Right?
Oh yeah.
Me and Darren went.
This wasn't. We had quite the normie night
Yeah, we went
You
to
know.
get a movie from the Red Box, and we were like,
from the Red Box movie. Shout out to the Red Box.
Yeah.
Providing us quality movies.
really.
Sponsor us because we know no one else. You're not sponsoring
Oh,
anyone
man.
else. Oh, just kidding.
But me and Darren had this moment when we got back. Like, how do we play this disc? We
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
we're confused on how to do
well,
it.
we were pulling into the driveway, and I'm like, Ian, does the Xbox play discs? Is that a thing? Because like I don't use discs now. If I play a game, even on the Xbox, I download a game, right? You don't buy. Like, why do discs even exist now? And then we had the dreaded console update.
Oh,
that
yeah.
took 25.
Oh,
It was like
no.
25, 30 minutes.
So we had to wait for that. And then
We got the
then we
disc
had to
inside.
install the Blu-ray player.
Yeah, we
app.
had to install a Blu-ray player app to
That-
the
that is
Xbox
a-
One.
That
for
is a
some reason.
separate
no,
app.
boys.
Okay, obviously it just downloads a disk drive into your Xbox.
Yeah,
and
just like
that's-
downloading more RAM on your
Yeah.
computer.
oh my god, well.
But the real struggle came after the movie was over, and we were trying to figure out how to get the disc back out. and
Oh yeah,
I
we
pushed
had a little.
Was that
every
a
single
problem?
button on
Yeah.
the thing to try to get it out.
Really?
Well, Darren was
Well,
like,
I'm
how do I
looking
get it out?
around on the Xbox, like with the controller, trying to find like an eject button. Can't
Yeah.
find it. Ian's pressing all the buttons on the front of it.
Oh no, boys.
I'm like, man, technology's hard these
That's
days,
rough.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
dude, all
That's
these
rough.
console normies have it rough.
just give me back the OG Xbox 360 days.
The Halo 3 days.
Nothing went wrong unless I broke something myself on those days. you know what
Unless
mean?
I slammed a controller
Yeah.
because of
Unless you
Call
got
of
that,
Duty.
unless you got that red ring of death.
Oh, dude.
I
no,
never
just
got
hey,
it, dude.
hey, just
Never
wrap it in a
got it.
blanket, and
Dude,
you'll get better.
that worked. I did that once
Oh,
because
no.
I red ringed, and if you don't know what the red ring was, it was basically it would overheat and it would melt the connections of
Jesus.
the GPU to the motherboard. I think
I think so.
it was either the GPU or something
Oh
like
my
that,
God.
and it was a cooling issue, and basically it would just overheat. So what you could do is you could turn it on and wrap it in like a blanket real tight so that it got super hot and it would melt the connections back together. It wouldn't last that long. It lasted for maybe like 2 hours when I did it, but it worked.
Literally,
That's pretty
there were so many
insane.
things you could read online how to fix the red rings of death,
Yeah.
and like
yeah.
there was like maybe one that would work if that for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I only red ringed once and then it didn't do it anymore again. So
Well, the
I
good
mean,
point was when it was a meme and people would how to fix red ring and it'd just be them throwing their Xbox out
Yeah.
the window. That
Those
was
were
my
good
favorite,
days, dude.
Yeah.
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 You
Not
could fix
really.
it. It just required resoldering a bunch of stuff to the motherboard. And it's
you know what, Darren? None of
an
us,
in-depth process.
none of
Look
us
at this
want to do
guy.
that like you.
The red
Wow.
ring made me horny.
And there were ways to fix it.
What's up, dude? I feel it.
Best
were ways to
content we've
fix
had
it.
in the podcast so far. Thanks, dude.
You could add
Throw
in
that
like
in an intro,
plates.
Cody.
Yeah.
You could add in like
Oh.
plates to add more airflow to it and
Yeah.
stuff, and it would not do it then. But
My Xbox never red ringed. You know why?
I mean, that's a
because I didn't sit it up like this, like everyone else did.
that
Was
that
part of
doesn't-
the problem. It
Was
I
that?
mean,
has
it
very
didn't.
little
I
to do
didn't
with
have
it.
red ring.
I
well,
just,
it's just.
dude, I just put a liquid cooler in mine.
I
so
mean, there's like a 50-50 chance that it happens. It's not like it's always gonna.
I just had
happen,
the limited edition one ever made liquid cooled Xbox 360.
there's like
I
a
think
few.
it-
Of
I
those.
think
I've
it
seen
had
many
s-
of them.
I think it did have something to do with like heating and stuff, though. Like you're not supposed to sit it upright. That's like
Well,
dumb.
maybe they should have told
It
kids
wasn't
not
designed
to sit
that
it
way.
upright.
It just
that way.
became like the normie thing. to
It
do,
literally
and they
was
wanted to-
designed that
No,
way.
it wasn't.
It was.
Well, we
They
can
just
look this
failed
up,
at
dude. I'll
designing the
prove you
airflow.
wrong,
It
dude.
was supposed to be able to stand up. They just
I
designed
don't
it
know,
bad.
man. I'm not
I
concentrating
mean,
anymore.
but like.
The intention
So
was
then
to be
it
able to
wasn't.
stand it up.
So then
Oh
it wasn't
my gosh,
designed.
dude! This
that
guy
way.
is just going off in chat.
Well, I'm not saying that it
Wasn't
was
designed
designed
properly.
well. I'm saying that it was intended to be sat that way,
Wow.
or you were able to sit it that way.
Mayo
They just
man.
failed.
Yeah.
I see
and it
what
was
you're
better
doing in
the
chat.
other way.
These guys are just over here arguing. I'm just looking in chat, watching this guy
Oh
go
my
off, dude.
gosh, dude. What
It's a little.
the hell's going on, dude? Time out? No, I don't know, dude. I don't really care, dude. Whatever. YouTube content, thanks. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for content. We can't make our own.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else about. Oh yeah, dude. So I wanted to talk about. We have a couple new social media links. We have a Facebook now that is live. I don't know why.
I didn't
but-
even know we had a Facebook.
We have a
Yeah,
Facebook.
so now you know.
I feel like you sent me that
update.
Is
message.
Facebook still a thing?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. My grandma's on it, so
Well,
like.
Wait,
Yeah.
you made a Facebook for us?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. They're gonna steal our data, dude. I'm not okay with that.
I mean, yeah, GG. I guess it's game over. Might as well just close up shop. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, Cody.
Yeah, I'm getting the hell out of here. So yeah, we have a Facebook, and I don't know if we talked about it on the last one, but our Patreon is live.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the 3 people, and 2 of you are bots, so the
do we,
other,
do we have a LinkedIn though? Is that what it's
yeah,
called?
it's at the top. A what? A
The-
LinkedIn?
what's the link one called? The business one.
LinkedIn.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I mean,
Do
we
we
Why
can
would
get
we have a
one.
LinkedIn?
I actually thought about making one the other day because I changed my job to community manager at Full Send Studios, and if it's an actual thing on there, has a little picture. It's like it'd be kind of cool to have a little picture beside
Yeah,
it.
but I feel like LinkedIn doesn't quite fit us.
Why?
I mean,
How
it
else are
doesn't.
we gonna get our
but,
sponsors?
who cares? I mean, it
How else
doesn't
are
do
people
anything.
Gonna, how else
bad,
is
you know
people
what I
going to
mean?
get into contact with us to pay us
Yeah.
to talk about their stuff?
Probably
DM
email.
us on Twitter.
Probably email.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why would you not just use LinkedIn instead though?
I mean, All my LinkedIn
Isn't LinkedIn
messages
just
are pretty
literally-
strange.
Aren't they just?
I mean, our
isn't
number
it
one
just literally
sponsor,
just
Elon
a-
Musk, is only going to use Twitter. So
Yeah,
That's
true.
hard to argue with. Tesla sponsor us. Thanks,
Dude, that'd be lit.
I'll take a car.
Yeah.
I don't even want a
Yeah.
car. I just want to shake his hand, dude.
Can't even drive. I'd still take a car, dude. That Model 3, dude. Let's go.
Dude, it drives you around.
I
You don't
drive.
even
If
need a
I had a
license.
model, if I got a Model 3, I'd drive illegally, probably.
You don't even need to drive. It'll drive you wherever you want.
That's true.
I
Dude,
feel
is
like-
that
I
where we're-
mean, it's not how that works.
Is that
but,
where
like,
we're? Is that where we're going
Maybe I
to?
could spin it.
To
Yeah,
where
I could
Cody
spin it.
never. Cody, are you riding on the fact that maybe we'll have automated cars that you will never have to get your license
I
because
think
you
you-
don't have to be legal to drive?
I think you're still gonna have to have your license.
Yeah,
in
but what
case
if-
something goes wrong.
Yeah, but what if you don't? Though?
I mean, if I don't,
I think
that'd
the
be pretty
automated
nice.
vehicles will bring back public transportation.
I mean, I wouldn't say it ever really died
Well,
in big cities.
in big cities,
it's
but
all-
like I'm saying, it'll bring it to the small cities now.
yeah, probably. Isn't that what? Well, yeah, but then I have to pay $7 to go down the street. It's not necessarily very effective.
There's no Ubers around here.
The problem is that there's a minimum rate, and it's like always $6 or more. Dude, it is 90 degrees outside, and I can feel every bit of it. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm the only one complaining about the temperature in this room,
Well,
Darren, huh?
I just wanted
It is
to
not
clarify.
hot in here.
Well,
No, it's not hot.
Darren,
yet.
you work in like 115 degrees. I work in 40. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I work right in the middle of that. I work in like 80s, depending on what it's outside.
So, I mean, it's whatever, dude. I'm going to get through it. I just, I see my forehead's a little shiny, and that's all. I'm okay with that. We'll power through for the views, okay? That's what we do
Hold on a
here at
second.
Full Sense
We
Studios.
we've just neglected movie of the week.
Oh, yeah,
Did we?
dude.
Yeah, I brought it up and then we went back to the actual-
Patreon.com/Full Sense Studios if you want to sponsor The Gather. Thanks. Movie of the week. High octane, by the way. My mom. Oh my gosh.
Dude, this guy's clowning.
I'm not sure what's going
He's clowning
on,
around.
dude.
Anyways,
Wow,
movie of the
dude.
week. Blockers.
It's pretty impressive.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only reason we rented it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I was disappointed with John Cena in that movie is I didn't see him once.
Wait, what?
Shut up. I hate you.
So I
hate
didn't
you
see
so
the
much.
movie. What is this joke? Explain this.
Well,
joke.
it's
You
just
can't
John
see John
Cena's
Cena.
joke. You can't
Oh.
see,
You can't see me or whatever he does.
Yeah,
I'm angry.
but it
I'm
was. It had
hostile
some
now.
funny moments, but it was pretty, overall.
I thought it was pretty good.
There's a lot of funny John Cena moments.
Yes.
Darren kept saying that John Cena in that movie was gonna be me as a dad in the future,
It is.
and I don't know.
Is that a thing he did?
What?
Did he butt chug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's
Yeah, and he got
pretty.
yeah,
that's
and then and then he shot it back out
no,
of the tube.
he didn't. Oh my god, dude!
That-
I need to watch this.
Dude, watch the
movie
clip right now.
dude.
Just have a live reaction to Cody watching this clip.
All
That's
right,
perfect.
Dude. All right.
Yeah,
All
dude.
right.
There, he's this guy says.
Is it John Cena?
Yeah, this guy says, you need to do this to get in this party, and then he's like, from my daughter though, and then he does it, but then the cops.
Is
roll
his
up.
name Mitchell in the
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, dude. Here, well, I'll skip to it. We gotta skip to it because there's a lot of talking, right? All right.
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, dude.
Wait.
Here we go.
Oh, it's going down.
Oh, it's
that
going
mall
down. It's going
liqueur,
real quick
dude.
too.
That mall
So
liqueur.
the others are it's a 40 too.
Oh my god, boys! What? The...
Yeah, but there's a scene.
Dude.
There's a scene later when the car crashes. The car crashes, and he's like, "Well, there's the rest of the butt beer."
No, dude, that's funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was pretty.
John-
It's just a typical vulgar comedy.
Yeah.
John Cena is literally.
I mean, John
anything
Cena
for
made
views.
that movie for
Yeah.
sure.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, it's me. Chat.
Oh,
Oh no, gotta mute.
no,
Gotta mute the
dude.
chats. Here we go. Already out here.
God. Professional stream. Oh,
Wait, do I have another chat?
I'll let you guys finish.
What are
I'm
you-
sorry.
What do you?
You're
oh,
so-
No, go ahead, dude. This
Eureka.
hey, this segment's over, dude. Go ahead.
Probably this week. I don't know how hard the process is gonna be. We're gonna be live on like iTunes, Spotify,
Oh,
stuff like that.
nice.
Oh no, F is full screen. Oops. The more you know. Dude, you know what I realized how much I miss? Dude? Matador.
Yeah, where is
He
he?
tweeted at us.
Where's he at?
He's
dude,
not here today.
Apparently, I don't know how far behind he is. Oh no.
It's F11. Oh, no, dude. It's F11, my dude.
Dude.
How far
There
ahead
you
he
go.
is, you mean?
Or-
Time-wise?
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, it's 2 a.m. there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So however many hours that is.
That's
Yeah.
wild stuff.
Why?
Well, he's like, it's 8 p.m. here. And this was a while ago, obviously. And he's like, I'm dead tired. I'm not going to make it tonight. And I was just like,
Boys, come on.
I'm just like, dude, R.I.P. I'm just like, leave it open on your phone so we can get that extra viewer. You know?
Hey, we get a viewer on YouTube, though.
Is that
so.
technically view bonding?
I don't know.
Would that be? If you're just like telling people, hey, like, if you're going to bed or something, just open this up for us. Is that view bonding? I don't know. Maybe. Might be worth it to find out, though, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, check that out. I'll probably talk about it more next week if it happens. Like I said, I don't know how hard the process is.
Right.
But I assume it is not that hard. So that is a thing that will be happening this week.
Nice,
most
dude.
likely.
Nice. Official.
Almost certainly. I've just had people asking. They're just like, I don't want to watch Twitch. I don't want to download another app. And I'm just like, yeah, that's understandable. They're like, oh, look, I have an iPhone. Are you guys on iTunes? And I'm just like,
Oh, here we
well,
go.
GG.
Oh, no. Ooh.
So, yeah. So that's going to be a thing that happens this week. Hopefully. Barring tragedy.
Gonna hit Jack with that fat no. Darren was too lazy to get you.
The people. Cars.
Anyways, next
said
segment.
no.
Game of the week. I'm literally the only one that's played it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So, Islands of Nine. Where you going? You just leaving? Solo commentary? Alright, I'm looking right into it. Alright, I'm looking right in the camera. Islands of Nine, Battle Royale. I don't know the actual full title, but it's really fun. It's really fast paced. Definitely the PUBG killer that came after the Fortnite. I don't know. It's definitely not a Fortnite killer because no little kiddies are about to be playing this game.
Fortnite is the best game ever made, lol.
Sorry.
Why are you, like, out of the picture right now?
Because get out of my segment, Darren. So I've been playing it with my boy Ken, all the way down in Kentucky, and I've put a significant amount of time into it. It's really fun. It's very fast paced. It's nice, refreshing. It's going to be extremely competitive in the future eventually. I can definitely see it. The time to kill is very quick, so it's fun though. It's really fun. I would get it $25 on Steam, not free to play, but the crates in it are free. You just gotta grind those credits, and then you can open the crates. I'm pretty sure they said that they're staying that way because the $25 price is the price you pay for the whole game.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like the game
Breaking the mold,
I
dude.
don't know.
Shattering the mold.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's as good as The Gather, though.
No, it won't be.
Hard to argue.
Dude, the Gather Battle Royale.
The Gather has homing missiles, dude.
Homie,
Oh
and,
yeah, dude. You were talking about that. I think I was long asleep at that point, but
Oh, yeah.
but that's pretty lit. Also the impulse.
Yeah,
The-
Impulse
the-
OP plus nerf.
Yeah,
was pretty
if
funny.
You,
I
if
saw
you
that on
saw the
Twitter.
tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video was questionable if you watched on desktop. I mean, like it looked like it was 1 pixel. Don't know.
well, who
why.
did that, dude?
Not sure.
A community
That's,
manager?
I
that's
mean,
Cody over
there was nothing that I could have done differently. Like, sometimes we kind of talk about just random
I wouldn't
games
say that
in
we do like
general.
a segment,
Yeah,
but
it's
like
not really a
usually we
segment.
end up.
If you
talking
go
about
back
games.
3 or 4 podcasts ago, we did pretty much an entire
E3.
podcast
We
about
covered
E3.
Yeah, we had like an entire
was like an
E3
hour, I'd
podcast,
say.
and then we talked about it again in the next one.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in looking for games in the future, I'd go watch those two. Pretty
They're-
much all the
they're
games
on
at E3
YouTube.
are the ones that we'd
They're both on YouTube. If you just go, I got
They're-
you.
put that link.
Yeah.
Got that command. Dude.
Ask that command, dude. There you go.
So you can
There it
check
is.
out, all the old podcasts there.
Yeah.
For right now. But yeah, I'd say we don't generally talk about games that are coming out, but if there's something that catches our eyes, I think that's.
I'm just waiting to buy that
The
Switch for
problem,
the new.
with, the problem with
Smash
talking
Bros.
about games that are coming out is there's just so many games coming out now
Right.
that I mean, obviously you have your AAA releases that come out at like E3 and stuff.
Normie.
And those are all like scheduled releases that, you're going to hear about all of them at E3 or
Right.
at PAX or whatever.
I think, kind of speaking of that, though, I think they gave Red Dead an official release date. Did you guys see
Did
that?
No.
I think they did. I think I saw a link somewhere saying that Fallout 76, Red Dead, and Smash all have release dates now. I don't know what they are.
I thought Smash already had one. It's like December 7th or something, or
Oh,
17th or something
maybe.
like that.
Yeah, so
Either way.
I'm not sure, but I'm definitely looking forward to Red Dead. So to answer your
Yeah.
question,
When it-
Red Dead Redemption 2.
But when it comes to like more indie games on like Steam and stuff, there's just so many coming out
Yeah.
every day that it's, I can go on Steam right now and find 100 indie games, and I'm like, yeah, that looks kind of cool.
I can go on our Twitter right now and find literally thousands of indie games that are being developed because we follow Indie DevBot
Yeah.
and Game DevBot. So
The only indie game I'm looking forward to is The Gather.
yes, that's hard to argue with. No, some of the people that I follow on here actually have some pretty cool ideas, but I mean, yeah, like I just
That's
scroll
good
down
stuff,
my
dude.
feed and there's just a lot of very different things.
I've seen a lot of VR indie games being developed,
Yes.
which is interesting to me.
Yeah, what did I see? I saw one.
The nice thing about if you're making VR games, if you make it for the Oculus Rift, your first, it was pretty high. I want to say it was like 5 million. Your first 5 million in revenue. If you make it with Unreal Engine, you don't have to pay their royalties on the first
Really?
5
Oh,
million.
dude.
Well, you do still have to pay the royalties,
Thank you,
but
sir.
Oculus Rift pays it for you
Hmm.
if you make it for the Oculus Rift because
Wow.
they're trying to get people to make stuff.
They're
for
trying to
it.
compete with the Vive.
Trying to compete with everything.
Probably. Good on you guys for going after your dreams. Best of luck to all of you guys in pursuing them.
Hey, thanks, man.
Much appreciated, dude. Sometimes we need that little reminder that we're not just wasting our time. So, appreciate it. Yeah. I was hanging out with some buddies from work yesterday, and we literally talked about the game for like an hour.
Dude, nice.
Like we watched the whole mocap video and like half of a podcast, and then just like talked about the game for a while.
Speaking of mocap videos, I guess I'll hit on this real quick.
Okay, go
If
for it.
anybody out there is interested in our development and our, been watching our development live streams at all or interested in how we're making the game, I'm gonna make a pretty in-depth setup video and like how we get. So I'll go over like the setup of this will probably be a series of like 2 or 3 videos. I'll go over the setup of our mocap suit and how we actually wear the suit and everything, like IRL setup, and
Yeah.
then I'll go through the actual motion capture setup stuff, and then I'll make a video with how we actually take those animations into Unreal Engine and put them on our characters.
A three-parter.
Three videos.
Yeah.
Hit him with that
probably.
three-parter.
Yeah,
That'd be
because
sweet.
I noticed, for those of you that don't know, we're using the Perception Neuron 2.0. That's the mocap suit. There was a significant lack of like, if you're trying to look up resources for how to use it with Unreal Engine and stuff, there's a significant lack of just do this and your animations will be in Unreal Engine, and there is a severe lack of like how to get it onto a standardized skeleton because the Perception Neuron skeleton is really different from like the kind of industry standard humanoid skeleton like that Unreal uses for the mannequin.
Why?
Just
Just the way they designed it?
yeah. So there's a lot of work that you have to do in regards to retargeting and setting up a skeleton to get your animations from the Perception Neuron into Unreal and then retarget them to your other skeletons.
Right.
That makes sense. This guy in chat is very nice.
Yeah, I'm about it.
I wasn't sure about you at the
Hey.
start. Got to be up front, but yeah, that's
Hit us with that follow.
yeah. Hit us with the follow. You can chat with us in our Discord channel. I think the
Oh, yeah,
link to
dude.
that is down below. So if you're interested in the game, cool. There you go. There's
Download
your
a couple bucks to
information.
the Patreon, get in the exclusive chats.
That's right, dude. The exclusive. What is it? There's the Patreon chat,
Yeah.
and then there's the God Squad chat, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you have to pay like
I think it's 15, right?
Speaking
50
of
or
Was it
100.
50?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
speaking of Patreon tiers and stuff, what did we start at? The $25 tier
For the
early access
early access.
builds.
I think it's 25. yeah.
We'll be doing some early access builds on our Patreon at the $25 plus tier.
Mhm.
And basically, I think we'll do a monthly build starting next month, probably early next month, where it might not have a lot of content in it, but just like a monthly build to kind of give an update, show what we've been working on, what we're what we're doing essentially.
And giving you a playable version of it.
Yeah.
Right. I think
So
that's the goal.
while it might not have a lot of content, it's something that you can see that we're working on.
It's our first thing to show
Progress.
and get feedback
Yeah.
from everyone to say, this
Yeah.
is stupid, or
Yeah.
I think you guys should go this way with this situation or whatever. Darren was working on some cool UI stuff I saw the other day for some of the stuff after looking over his
You
shoulder.
didn't see that. I wasn't
pretty
on live
sweet.
stream doing that.
Okay.
So Darren's cooking. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, have you-
Darren's been up late cooking.
Have you
today.
talked about the Discord integration?
I didn't.
might wanna
We
hit
are
on
doing
that.
some Discord integration. I made some decisions in regards to like what platform we're going to use and stuff. So I guess I'll talk about that. We're going to use Steam as a platform. Not necessarily. It will be on Steam. You can buy it on there. But I don't know that will be our primary like marketing point, right? So it'll be on like the Humble store probably, things like that, itch.io. But basically what will happen is you'll get a Steam key and you'll activate the game on Steam. The reasoning for this is Steam's platform is just by far the most featureful as far as what it provides. And we looked into, making our own launcher and doing those services ourselves, but it's one of those things where we're just reinventing the wheel with that. And, everybody uses Steam pretty much already, so we might as well use those services while they're there.
Right.
And then we'll have, we already have integration with Discord's Rich Presence. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like the thing where if you click on someone's name in Discord, it shows, what game they're playing and what they're doing in the game.
Right.
Things like that. So we have integration with that. There'll be more integration to come with that, I think. But we do have the integration in the engine now.
It's lit.
So
That's very lit.
lots
Most
of
definitely.
updates.
Yeah. So I think it might be worth it to kind of just give that. Well, we've talked about doing the development videos. What is it? Developer updates on YouTube. Are you planning on starting those soon? What is your intention? With that, I guess.
I would guess that we'll do one this week probably.
Okay. I
This
think
week
there's a
or
lot
next
to
week.
talk about. Just kind of to set the bar straight for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Where we're
Either
at.
probably this week or this weekend probably we'll do one.
So again, if you're interested in that kind of content, head on over to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe over there. We post the full live streams, the development streams, motion capture. That's pretty much it. But it's pretty. Oh, smiling. Anyway, so head on over to our YouTube because it's pretty lit over there. All right, thanks. Appreciate your time.
Ian's always sad.
It's sad.
Dude,
man. It's because it's.
I was deep in my thoughts about the game, honestly.
Yeah,
I was real deep into thinking about designing stuff. But
Yeah.
Let's go, dude. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. The gather.
yeah, dude.
The gather, boys. They gathered us together.
Oh,
You know what I mean, dude?
dude,
Let's go.
I can't wait
boys.
for
Send
everyone
it.
to say that
There
in
you
our
go.
Reddit.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah,
whenever we
dude.
have 100,000+ people in our Reddit talking about how good this game is, dude.
100+ billion, dude. Let's go. When we're billionaires, are we just gonna pay Google to just give fiber to everyone so they can all play our game?
Ooh, we're pulling Elon
Just
Musk stuff.
give
out
them
here,
a
dude.
dev kit for our console that only has the Gather on it. And it can just be played all around the world. You thought you did it well, but wait. What if you just gave a console to everyone? Like Wii Sports. Yeah, a lot of people might have had it, but imagine giving it to everyone in the world and giving them internet to play it. Light years.
That's
Let's
bold.
go.
That's a lot of money, dude.
What would that cost? On
lot.
a real
A
level
lot.
to give fiber to
significant amount.
everywhere?
A
Everywhere,
lot.
dude.
We could do it.
Everyone's residence in the entire planet.
We could
People
do
live
it, dude.
out 1,000 miles from any civilization, out in the outback in Australia.
I mean,
You're gonna run some fiber cable all the way out there?
we could do it, dude. I think we could do it.
All right.
Partnership with Google.
Dude,
There's
the
a reason
Amazon
that
would
Google
be easy.
stopped doing Google Fiber.
The Amazon would be easy, dude. We don't even have to put any poles. We can just run it straight through the trees.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think it's gonna happen, so just stay tuned on that. But we'll provide updates on that. That goal is as it gets closer.
I'm not
to,
making that promise. I
to
can't, dude.
Shipping the
That'd be
fiber
nice, but I can't.
cables.
Speaking of someone doing good for a large population of people, Elon
Elon, dude,
promised some
Big
stuff on
Daddy
Twitter,
Elon. So that was I mean, it was our last.
So
segment.
yeah, you know what, we're
so we
jumping into
can
But I
just say
like
you
Elon,
know
dude. I like
Elon
Elon.
Musk is the IRL Tony Stark.
Yes.
And
would
I'm
not- yeah.
curious who's gonna join the Avengers.
Me?
Okay.
I am.
Here we go. I made the decision a while ago that whenever he has a ship that will make it to Mars, I want to be on the first one. Mostly because this planet's going downhill real quick, and like, I want to be the first person to play the Gatherer on Mars. Like, could you imagine being that person? Imagine going on Twitch and seeing,
Well,
Playing the
I was
Gatherer
the first
from
person to play the
Mars.
Gather on Earth.
well,
That's true.
That doesn't sound as good as Mars, though. You know what I mean? Like, the first bit of content that comes from when the ship lands on Mars is the Gather live stream on Mars. Could you imagine how clickbait that is? Your video thumbnail is literally just a picture of Mars, and it's just you smiling. Look,
No, it's just our
we'd
it's
get
just
a
our
trillion
logo.
views. I think we'd get a trillion.
It's our logo
views
with the Mars
or
behind
something
it.
like that. How many people are in the world? I don't even know.
7
billion.
billion.
We'd still get a trillion views. That's just how
Yeah.
it goes. Okay.
Dude,
Don't
why don't we just
question my
clickbait that
motives.
anyways?
I mean,
Why have we not clickbait that anyways?
It's not clickbait if you're actually on Mars.
yeah.
Well,
It's only clickbait if you don't deliver on the clickbait. Then it's
I
not
mean,
bait.
no, it's still clickbait.
No.
Like, if you just put a picture of a girl and then there's just a girl in one frame of your video,
which
that's still
happens a lot in those
clickbait.
montage videos.
Still
Most epic
clickbait.
things that's ever happened.
Nah, but like Jake Paul did a video playing Fortnite and put Ninja in his thumbnail.
I did see that.
Literally,
That
Ninja was not in the video or mentioned once.
yeah.
Like that's bad. Like that.
Did you watch
is-
Ninja reacting to that? He was just like,
yeah,
whatever.
It's just like,
All right.
wow.
If you got to do that for views, then
Yeah,
I feel bad.
I'm making $1 million a month off just subscribers. You can keep trying to use me for views, Jake.
Mhm.
Trash.
Jake's really bad at Fortnite too.
Is he?
Yeah,
He's bad at everything, dude. That's just.
he's bad at being a human.
I'm not trying to slander people. Let's see. Automod.
Oh.
I don't care, dude. Allow. What's going on, dude? Welcome back. You can. I just deleted the block term. I didn't even set those, so I
We
don't know
don't.
where
It's
that
just-
draws
it's just
from.
automatically.
So
What do we got though? Elon. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking
Elon,
yeah,
dude.
We back.
Elon was in the news a lot. He was getting slandered.
All right,
on
first of all,
Twitter,
hold on a
dude.
second. We need to talk about something that's happy, all right? All those Thai kids and the coach
Yes.
got out of the cave.
Like,
All
I
of them.
don't.
That's kind of old news now, but
Yeah.
I didn't
It
know. I didn't know like much of the architecture of like the area, but it just sounded like it was
well, do you know
a
like the
real
story of
not
what
good
happened?
time. Not really.
They literally went on a hike through this cave, and there was a flash flood that happened
Mm,
and pushed them deeper into the cave, and then the water just stayed. So they were like stuck in there or whatever.
that's
So they
interesting.
the only reason they found him is because they left their shoes out in the front. So
Mhm.
like, oh, there's
Oh,
these shoes here,
wow.
dude. Why are there shoes here?
That's
So
crazy.
they went diving in. The Thai Navy SEALs got there. They took them food that would last them until October because they were just gonna leave them in there to survive until the water receded. It was their original plan because they had no idea what to do.
That's crazy.
And then they just started pulling them out 4x4. But I think it was like 3 Navy SEALs and then a medic stayed in there the whole time with them to make sure that they were okay and taking vitals and stuff.
Yeah.
But they got them all out.
That's
the big issue
crazy.
was going to be the coach. How to get the coach out because he's significantly bigger than them.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
Uh,
Wow.
So where
It all worked
Elon
out.
fits into all that? I mean, so people gave him, people were complaining. So originally people called on him. They're like, "Yo, Elon, we got this kids trapped in a cave. Why don't you,
Whip something up real quick.
do something and help? Since
some
you guys are
science,
also
dude.
smart."
Hmm.
And he's like, "Okay, well, builds a little tiny submarine in a day."
Out
Yeah.
of Falcon rocket parts and the Mooring
and
Company.
ships it to Taiwan, or where was that?
Thailand.
Thailand.
And ships it there and says, sends some engineers and stuff, all
And goes himself.
he's paying for this stuff himself. So, whether or not they used the submarine, it's still they probably tried 30 different things before the submarine that didn't work, that they didn't do until they figured out what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of, hating on Elon, saying, "Oh, you built the submarine that didn't even
Well, my
do
biggest
anything."
thing was
And
that
he's like, now it
They have
exists.
it.
It might be used in the future, and
They literally have
it's not that his plan didn't necessarily work out, but he still tried.
well, the biggest thing for me was that he actually like took it there. Like
Yeah.
he himself went
He
with his
dove.
engineers
He
there.
dove,
and dove
down there,
Yeah.
like to see the area.
Yeah. He's not
Like,
you know,
there's just this like complex of people just want to stay angry at people that are successful. Like that's just a fact. And like, so when I get on Twitter and I see an Elon tweet, he's tweeting about the submarine, and people underneath are just roasting him. Well, if you're doing this, this kind of ties into the other story. If you're doing this for someone, why can't you help people? Like Flint, for example,
Flint,
people were
Michigan.
just roasting him.
And then he's like, "Okay, let me help Flint."
And then he's like, yeah, well, and that's what happened. He's like, okay, I'll fund it. Like, okay.
that like
And then, like, I tweeted
That's
that, and
crazy.
some guy replied to me, and he's like, let's not praise anyone until he does anything. I'm like, okay, we don't have to praise him for this. Let's praise him for the other hundreds of millions of dollars he's donated to charities and stuff. Like,
he
like people
has,
just want to stay angry for no reason.
he has
It's
literally
just
put
insane.
his money where his mouth is every single time. I mean, not probably. I don't know. I can't really say that for a fact because I don't know everything he's done. But
The fact of
it
the matter
seems
is
that
he does a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Right? The percentage of his wealth that he donates is probably more than the
Than any
percentage
other
of any. Like, obviously, he's going to donate more money because he's richer, but I bet the percentage he donates to charity is significantly more than all of the people that are roasting him donate from their paycheck every year, right? Like, I don't know. It's
The
just
Flint,
silly.
Michigan thing was crazy to me because it was just some guy that was like, this is great that you did this, but I know people in Flint that don't have drinkable water yet. And he was like, anyone that comes to me, I will personally fund to get drinkable water to their house or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he
don't
just he does. I think he does as much as any one person can do.
Yeah.
I mean, all of his companies, whether you want to say they're for profit or not, I mean, all of his businesses are humanitarian efforts at their core.
Well, that's like his big thing. I was reading something about.
Well, I saw. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're
but
fine.
I saw he got he was getting a lot of crap for not caring about the environment.
Oh,
And like on Twitter, people were bashing him for that, and I'm like, he's like leading
he made
renewable energy sources, and
Yeah.
He
he
hates
literally
eliminating
made
fossil fuels.
But he hates the
and-
environment, though.
he made a car and is putting charging stations like all around the country or world.
I was in
Yeah.
Columbus. I
Well,
was in
well,
Columbus.
I mean,
the other day.
and let's not forget about solar power in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just in Columbus the other day, I was walking around and I noticed that there are like parking spots specifically designated to charging your cars. Like not in parking garages, I mean like on the street. Like there is like one every street, which is awesome, honestly.
I just think he's in that really weird spectrum of people, like I'll call it like similar to like Bill Gates, where it's someone that is so rich but also does so much that people are just like. And well, the thing about Elon too is everything he does is so public, right? Because he literally tweets about everything that he is just constantly allowing criticism.
I feel like here's
to
the
be-
difference between when you compare like Elon Musk to Bill Gates. Bill Gates doesn't do that much. Like okay, he donates a lot of money to stuff,
Yeah.
right? He gives charities. I don't even know how much money, Elon Musk takes a more direct approach
sure, yeah.
than just here's money to fund things.
Yeah.
He takes a more hands-on direct approach,
Yeah. He's literally like, well, we've talked about the environment being a problem on the earth for decades now. No one's done anything, so now I'm just gonna leave. Like that's the point he's at. Like, could you imagine being that
Well, I mean,
frustrated with everyone around
I don't
you?
think it's that he's just like I don't like you people, so I'm
Yeah.
going to go to Mars. It's
Yeah.
like, Earth is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
And at some point, we are going to have, at some point, if we don't want to just be extinct, we're going to have to go to another planet. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, that's obviously not within our lifetimes, even by,
Well, that depends.
a short reach.
Depends
of it,
if the-
but
if the
depends
third
if we
war
blow it up
starts.
with nukes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
but
gonna say, it
I'm just
depends on the
talking
third
from
war
natural
starts,
cause. Even if we don't include like pollution on the environment and stuff like that into a factor for that. I mean, Earth eventually is gonna not have water. Water's not a renewable resource. So,
Not clean water.
Not
so-
clean water.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
eventually we're gonna be at that point where we have to go to another planet.
Right.
But,
The whole GOP stuff is what cracked me up to this week.
yeah.
All those accusations were
I
funny.
I don't know if I put a link on here. I think I did. Is this it? Yeah, I think. Let me just pull this up so I don't get these numbers wrong.
It's just funny to me that people just straight up started accusing him of something that probably has no involvement in himself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know
So
about his companies.
this is a list of the things that he has donated to, or SpaceX or Tesla have donated to. So people were complaining that he's donating large amounts to whatever.
The Republican Party.
So let's look right here. This is just a list of his last things. In order of date: Democratic Midterm Victory Fund, SpaceX to SpaceX. Okay. Democrat, Republican, SpaceX, Democrat, Republican. Anyway, you get the point, right? It's not
And,
biased.
like-
right? It's pretty evenly split.
If you look at their views, I'm not going to name any names, but they're all fairly moderate, and
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, you don't
And,
see anyone.
and he even specifically said that he was moderate politically.
Realistically, these aren't abnormally large donations.
No, not even a little bit.
and
not
that-
at all.
I think this right here
Well, I
just
mean,
backs up his statement that
Money drives all of our politicians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
if he
just a
wants
fact.
any of his things to get anywhere, if he
Mm-hmm.
needs, regulations changed or whatever, he's not going to be able to do that without having these relationships and donating into these politicians.
The thing about those politicians there weren't any he's not donating $100,000 to them. It's like
Yeah, it's
they're
like 5,
relatively small donations when you're looking at the whole scheme of things.
Well, and
And
just
the politician he's donating to are not it's not crazy.
Yeah.
They're not crazy people that
Far left or
look
far
at this
right.
far left,
Yeah.
far right people. He's not donating to Bernie.
yeah, or Trump.
Or Trump,
Yeah.
for that matter, honestly.
But it backs up his statement. Like what he said to someone on Twitter was, I donate to people to keep an open conversation. It is what has to be done.
And he's donating equal amounts to everyone
Yeah.
on that list.
It's just complete. I mean, it's completely reasonable. Like I said, people just want to be upset about something.
Yeah.
And people that are making a lot of money are a large target. If you want to be mad at someone, be mad at Bezos. Don't be
Yeah.
mad at the guy that's literally just trying to do really good things for the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
the
really-
tweet was so crazy it made it sound like he's single-handedly funding the GOP.
yeah, he gave what was it, $30,000?
Oh, you gave $30,000 for the last year and a half to fund the GOP. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's just like, dude, come on, man.
So there's super PACs
The
for that. They don't
GOP
need
doesn't
that
get out of bed for $30,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how true it is, but you see during actual political campaigns, they talk about how much people get paid, for someone to go to an NRA convention, a politician, they get paid insane amounts.
Well,
of money.
the crazy thing is you can't even run for your local election without having at least $500,000 in your bank account.
It's
That's how
wild.
crazy it's become. State elections, if you don't have a $10 million winning chest in your back pocket, then you're not going to win at all.
Yeah.
Well, and it's
unfortunate.
even worse now. We're not going to get too deep into politics 'cause that's not really what this is about. But the two-party system is just actually specifically divided the country. I feel like
I mean,
it's getting rough.
the
getting
problem
bad.
is literally just money in government.
Yeah.
There should not you should not I don't know. There's a lot more problems than that.
It's getting
but
rough.
I like what your mom said here. My problem with Bill Gates was when I saw things for different grants and things they have, but there were specific requirements, racial and etc. To me, if you're going to hand out money or grants, it should be available to anyone to apply for.
Right.
That's a good point. So like, if you look at some scholarships, okay, we're gonna be a little edgy here for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at like a scholarship that's only for women or only for black people, I feel like that goes so far against the reasoning that scholarship exists in the first place, right? So if
Funding
you
college in general.
well, no, that's not what I'm getting at, really. I'm saying if you have a scholarship that's specifically for African Americans, right? You're creating that scholarship because you want to promote racial equality, right? That's the whole purpose behind it. And when you create a scholarship that's only for African Americans, you're not promoting racial equality. You're saying this is for one race. Whether you can argue all day whether I don't know the
People
proper
are
wording here.
disadvantaged.
Yeah, but
and need that.
there are just as many. I feel like there are
Maybe.
just as many disadvantaged white people that need scholarships as there are African Americans.
Maybe.
So I don't know. I just feel like it goes against the argument to disclude any races from a racial-based scholarship. You're only making the racial-based scholarship because you think that one race is disadvantaged.
Right.
And
The amount
all
of
you're doing when you do that is disadvantaging
like
other
random
races.
grants that are out there are nuts. Like
Yeah.
I'm part Native American at some percentage. I don't know exactly what, but that makes me eligible for like Native American grants. So if I wanted to, I could go out and be like, I'm 1/16 Native American and give me some money, and people would be like, all right. Or like people that wear glasses have grants. There's like grants for people that have asthma. If you're under 5 foot tall, you can get a grants. If you're over 6'5", there's grants. Like
It's called getting
stupid.
paid to go to school because you're playing basketball.
Yeah,
Pretty good
hold
grant.
on. They can't pay you to play basketball,
Wow,
Cody.
right,
Come on, that's not
yeah.
legal.
That's so dumb.
That's not legal.
We're not
dude.
going to dive into that because we're really not talking about sports. As much as we don't talk about politics, we really don't talk about sports.
Yeah.
But the fact that they don't pay athletes is stupid.
In college, you mean?
The NCAA is stupid.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
they-
they make billions
dude, they
every
make
year,
billions.
and they don't pay the people that
Listen, they don't want to give up their money. Calm down.
they
They're just
literally
kids,
like
dude.
the college.
South Park
funds
hits on that
athletes.
real
Dude,
good.
they're just
Yeah.
kids. They
Yeah.
They don't need this money. There's kids, Cody. Come
It's
on.
insane. It's insane.
No,
I read it. I'm gonna dive into it. I read a story about a guy that was a college athlete and that couldn't afford, like rent. And it's like this guy is probably, he is a part of a team that is pulling in, I don't know, some insane number of ticket and
here's the
ad
thing,
revenue
to
every
be
year.
a part of that team.
That's insane.
You have to dedicate your entire life to that. It's not
Yes.
like you don't have time to have a job if you're
Well,
on a.
yeah, I played soccer for a year in college, and I go to a small liberal arts school. By no means is it on the level of Akron or Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
And it was very, very difficult to juggle even just school and soccer together.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine like football players at Ohio State that go to school and then they have meetings right after class, and then they have like film right after class, and then they have like a 3-hour practice.
And they don't make any.
And they don't make
from
any
it.
money.
That's
And
just
there's
crazy.
no way that you are going to get a job during that. And if you have a job, if someone's working during that, then kudos to them, because that's extremely impressive to juggle all that together.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me. It really is. Yeah. It's actually talked about in Blue Mountain State. We haven't watched that in a while, I don't think, but
Yeah.
they talk
They have
about
a whole
how,
Dude,
episode
bring
on
me
that.
more Blue Mountain State. That's what I
Yeah.
want. Netflix, get on that, please. Thanks.
Yes.
someone start a Kickstarter. I would
That's how they
donate.
did. They had a Kickstarter
Yeah,
for
for
the
the
movie,
movie,
and it didn't
yeah.
do that great.
Yeah, but it did well enough
Yeah.
that I got a movie out of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
What is it? The Rise of Thadland or whatever?
I personally promise that if I'm ever a millionaire or something,
we will make one.
I will bring
Golden
back
State.
Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
Blue Mountain State is back.
But
yeah,
but to jump back to that, I think it is very. So I think the reason behind it is, so if you go into like a big inner city school or whatever, people are, I don't want to say discouraged from going to college or whatever, but the resources might not necessarily be there that are there if you go to a really good school, right? So I think people's reasoning behind scholarships like that are to help, like I said, people that are disadvantaged to be motivated and have the resources to go. The problem is like, okay, let's say you want to hit disadvantaged people. Why not just make the scholarship for people that their families make less than a certain amount?
Yeah.
Right. Like, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to just be like,
I think the only fair way to include or disclude people from like scholarships and grants and stuff, obviously, is financially, because that's the whole
yeah,
that's the whole reasoning behind it.
right.
Now, what I can also see is like actual disabilities, not like not differentiating between race or
Like-
I can't even think of
like
anything
this
else, but
person can't walk.
But like this person has muscular dystrophy and can't walk, or you know, things like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, obviously, it's their money. They can do whatever they want with it, but to me, it defeats the purpose of the entire, like, let's support education. I mean, I don't know. College is a scam anyway. You shouldn't have to pay that much, but we've hit on that before, so we'll
A lot.
avoid all that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I think the flip side of it, though, too, is that, like, people that would have their college paid for by what parents or whatever go out and apply for these scholarships that don't have. So like I said, this is the flip side, that, like, do not need them, and take them from people that probably could benefit a lot from that. So you kind of have this double-edged sword where it really just ends up screwing the people in the middle, right? Like, my family is very firmly in the middle class, which means you don't get enough money, or
You don't have enough money to pay for it, and you have too much money to get any assistance.
with it.
The
So it's just
FAFSA,
like,
at the FAFSA.
yeah, it's
That's
like
like exactly
it's a
what my
joke.
family was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane, but you know, that's just how it goes. And the problem with that is that's the majority of people, and how that ends up is having a student loan debt of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how our society's based, though. Like, what are you gonna do when to do 90% of the things that you want to do, you need a degree? You know,
That's
it's just
what needs to
unfortunate,
change.
doesn't it?
Darren, you sound a little upset.
You could say that.
Yeah. I just, yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In the education era, things have never been more closed than they are now.
Yep.
You know, when we're at a point in history where, you know, the information age, where things just continue to, you know, become available, it doesn't make any sense that I have to pay for this, the 1% of information that's probably not even necessary to know to do my job.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well,
I mean,
it's
so
like-
so here's the thing. Here's one of the problems I have with it. So let's just take computer engineering, for example, right? Really, any like engineering or STEM field, right? To me, so let's say you go to college, right? You pay how much money to take all these classes and learn all this stuff at college. All of which, if you're talking about STEM fields, all of that information that you learn in those classes is freely available online, and it's more up to date and probably more complete than the information that you're going to get at the college. To me, if you're unable, so if the reason that you're going to college is because you need to learn these things, if you are unable to learn that on your own, if you are incapable of doing that, I don't want you to be an engineer for me.
yeah.
You know,
That's
because I feel
reasonable.
like
Here's the crazy thing. So, my school, since it's a liberal arts school, I have to take all these classes for all these different things. So, like, my school is specifically Nazarene religion. So I have to take, like, throughout my college, I have to take 6 or 7 like religion classes. That have I'm a history and political science major,
okay.
double major. What I don't need to take religion classes.
Okay, well that's what you get for going to a religious private
I understand that, but like, I don't know how it was at Kent. Like, do you?
I mean, there's
I could've
dumb
finished-
classes with any degree, right?
I could have
Mine
finished
are-
my double major in 3 years. I should be done right now if
Yeah.
I didn't have to take
Oh,
all
yeah.
these other classes.
Absolutely.
But I mean, obviously, I chose to do this. But
So you need,
but
I
yeah.
think there's like 120 credit hours total that you need to get a degree, and I want to say like 80 directly apply to your major, and the other maybe it's less, maybe it's 60 are classes that relate directly to your major. Great example, I took understanding of music, college writing. One, I guess college writing is kind of relatable, but I know how to type in Word. It's not that hard.
So
Uh,
I guess I'll talk
it's
real quick
insane.
about. I watched a Harvard lecture the other day.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to Cody about this. I'm watching a computer science lecture at Harvard. Right, there was 10 or 11 lectures throughout this computer science course. And it was more specifically about like systems design and stuff when it comes to like web systems and everything. So the specific lecture I was watching was on scalable web systems or designing scalable web systems. So it's talking about like pretty advanced computer science and systems engineering concepts, right? And throughout this lecture, I can't think of his name, but the guy that was giving the lecture was asking, students questions and stuff, and he would call on them to answer things and whatnot. And I mean, there were questions like, what is SATA? And one of the students says, well, I think it has to do with hard drives. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're in computer science at Harvard in a lecture about scalable web systems and you don't know what SATA, you don't know what that means, then you are in the wrong place. Are these seriously the people that are getting computer science degrees and working at the top tech companies that don't know what SATA is before they go into a scalable web systems? I mean, come on. Really? And that's just one example. I mean, it seemed like everybody that he called on that class was had no idea what they were doing, and it seems what I think I see is that people are taking all these computer science courses and they're majoring in that because you can make a lot of money as a computer scientist, but they don't know anything about it. And the thing with computer science is, where you have I think there are some fields where they don't necessarily evolve as much, right? So I mean, even when you talk about I think this applies in any field. You have to be passionate and care about what you're doing, right?
Oh yeah.
For you being a psychology major, obviously, people learn more and have a bigger understanding of the human mind every day, right? So, 5 years from now, what you learned in college is, pertaining to psychology is probably going to be completely irrelevant. Same thing with computer science. And the thing is that what colleges are teaching are generally, a couple of years behind what the industry standard is now.
Oh yeah.
The colleges aren't teaching Node.js and React and everything, and that's where web systems are moving towards. We're moving away from PHP and Apache and stuff, and that's still what colleges are teaching. And so you're really paying a ton of money for a knowledge that is becoming useless.
You also run into the problem of like teachers being literally paid to use specific text, material, stuff like that. Like companies will pay and say, "Hey, can you use our textbook to teach your class?" Well, sure. I mean, you run into that with anything. I mean, even in the I learned about this. I took a health psychology class, and something that's very prominent is physicians being paid to prescribe certain medicine over another.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to run into that, but the problem is it's education, right? It should be as up to date as possible. We shouldn't have flawed, outdated teaching, especially if I'm paying $20,000 a year for it or more. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, education is literally flawed probably past 8th grade. Like, I think at that point, let me see. Oh.
I mean, I think colleges, particularly in computer science, it's such a rapidly evolving field. I mean, I can look up a tutorial on AngularJS, right, on YouTube that's a year old. None of the information in it is even remotely usable because it just, things change and evolve that quick in that field. And because of the traditional system educational system that college follows, or generally that colleges and universities follow, they use textbooks and they use, and these things just aren't updated fast enough. The best way to get up-to-date knowledge when it comes to computer science topics is, small articles and documentation on things that are like, coming out right now.
Right.
And so you've got to care about that field to make yourself stay up to date and learn new things. And if you're just going into that field because you don't really care about it, but you think that there's good money there, then you're not going to be able to stay in that field.
Right.
Well, that's the thing that I've noticed. One of my biggest pet peeves about school is like you have these kids that are in the same age as you, or but they have no idea anything about it preemptively going into a class.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've taken history, like a World War II class, right? There's a lot of times where I've not answered questions to see if anyone else could get them, and the class would just stay silent. It's not like it's hard. Like you had a thing your first year of college where the professor would just stop asking you questions because you know the answers and no one else in the class did.
In the federal government class.
Yeah. And that's bad.
It's crazy.
Honestly. The videos are crazy, the ones where they're like, now I'm not saying I'm an expert in any of these fields, but when you're going around asking random people the questions that are on the test to become a citizen in the US, and you have no idea, even a little bit, like those questions, that's bad. That's really
I don't
bad.
know that I would pass one. I don't know what the questions are, but
Just about government stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who's our like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know how specific
A lot.
it gets. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'd pass one. I'm really not. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know what it's like. But yeah, it's very, I don't know. There's 4 years. They should be given a final exam. See, here's the problem. Like,
I think the problem is that degrees don't. There's no degrees should be like tiered. If you and this would not work with the current system, with the current grading system, but if you could measure, everybody this year graduating with a computer science degree, there needs to be a way to measure. This guy was really good and he knows what he's doing and he cares about the topic and he's going to be really good, and he gets a degree that signifies that, whereas this guy who just barely understood anything and skated by needs to get a degree that highlights that, because now this guy that's really good and understands everything they're on a level playing field, and they're
the problem you run into that though is how are you assessing that, right? So this is something that we researched a little bit in our lab is do our assessments test whatever, do they actually test knowledge that is going to be applicable in the future, right? Because if you forget it after the exam, it's worthless. They don't, right, at all. So hypothetically, the best way to assess them would be only extended response questions. You want to do any multiple choice, fill in, short answer. It would be I can't think of a good example. What is the definition of cognitive psychology, and describe the some of the most popular literature, right? Mm-hmm. That would be a question. What is the availability heuristic, right? And you would write about that and maybe give a couple examples of research articles that researched it. And like that is how you test it. It's not what is the availability heuristic and then 4 options, right? Because that's just a guessing game, right? Mm-hmm. That's what is it?
I mean, you're feeding them the answer. If they have the slightest clue of what the answer is, you're feeding it to them.
So that's where you run into problems, and that's literally just how assessments are done at every level of education, except for maybe like doctorate programs. I think don't. Like at that point, you're writing dissertations and stuff. You're taking 2-question exams that talk about whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think that I'm questioning the validity of someone who went to medical school for 8 years.
Well, the end of the medical school, the end of medical school, you're like just in the hospital working.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's pretty true. My
What is it?
mom just put in chat. So I took a web design class, right? And I finished the class in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And the the teacher knew way less than I did, and basically he just said, if anyone has questions, go ask Darren because he probably knows more.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with education is not having advanced programs at every point of education, or I guess people that can't take average classes as well, having programs for them to go into.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest slight for above average intelligence people in the country, and it just sets them up for failure across the whole rest of their life, because all you're doing, especially in a case like you, or I'd say all of us honestly, you're wasting your time learning about algebra 2 or geometry or whatever.
Well, I don't even know that I would say that.
But it would be better spent somewhere else.
I mean, obviously you need to learn basic math and things like that. So I think that our educational system, when you talk about the different tiers, so you have like elementary school, middle school, high school, college, obviously this is in America, we're a step behind in every one of those. What college is should be what high school is, and what master's and doctorate programs is what
that's what
4 years of college should be.
Yeah.
And everything needs to be moved down a step.
I mean,
I really haven't noticed any difference in.
I don't think it needs to be moved. I just think the problem is standardized education is not good.
Well, yeah, but
how
I think if
intelligence
you get rid of
works.
standardized education, you kind of achieve that because, high school doesn't really, and some high schools do. Bigger high schools, I will say, have more programs.
Yeah.
But, you're not gonna go into high school, right, and you're gonna study computer science, or you're gonna study, any other number of topics that you could study at college, right? That's when you should be studying those things, is in high school. Because most of the knowledge that you learn in high school, I'm not saying that it's useless. If you want to go into computer science and stuff, absolutely you should be taking advanced math classes. But, if you're going to be if you're studying culinary school or something, why do you need to know algebra 2?
Yeah.
In what universe are you going to use that?
Yeah.
The crazy thing for
Maybe
me
if
was
your measuring cup doesn't have measurements on the side, something went wrong, and you really got to think about the circumference of this cylinder inside the cup. God.
I didn't really notice a difference between college and high school as far as difficulty level goes.
No.
The only thing
I
that
don't think that
changes
there
classes.
should be a different difficulty level. I think it's all in the subject matter. I don't think we're teaching. I don't think we're allowing students to learn the right things.
The only thing that changed between high school and college for me was instead of reading a book a 9-week period, I read a book in 2 weeks. They just increase the speed
You
that I
read the
need
books?
to. Huh?
You read the books?
Sometimes.
Nice.
Some of them. I read the ones that I want to read.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. Books are
Mine are probably
dumb.
significantly more interesting than yours are, though. Mine are all history or political related, and yours is just about cognitive.
The books are just so boring. I read the research articles.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about your example, because your example's probably trash and doesn't actually help me learn.
I don't really have any textbooks. Most of the stuff I read are this event happened, and this is very, very in depth about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I like. So
I don't know. See, like my opinion on education, at every level, ideally everyone would have their own teacher. Literally.
I don't think you should have a teacher.
Darren, you should be my teacher.
I think you should just learn things on your
So-
own.
I would much rather have Darren teach me computer stuff.
I would.
than
Darren would be a
anyone.
horrible teacher.
Well,
I wouldn't.
I would be a bad teacher.
You would be a horrible teacher. People that are naturally gifted at things are not good teachers.
That's true.
That's
Darren just
why
Think
I
about
say
think
those
about
who
all of
can't
our
do
teachers.
Darren just looks at one screen and then does things on another.
That's why when Cody asks me questions about how to fix something on his computer, I just get annoyed and say, "I don't know. Look it up."
Yeah. You
Even
say that
though
for
I
everything.
know, even though I know exactly what to do, but
Yes, I agree.
Anything
with that
can be
statement.
solved by searching online how to do this
Yeah.
at this point.
Pretty much. That's hard to argue with.
I think the things that we require in high school. So like obviously there needs to be some things that are required that you need to learn, right?
Yeah.
But we're not doing that with the right things. We don't teach people how to manage their finances.
That's exactly what I was
We don't
gonna
teach
say.
people
Life
There's
skills
way
in
more than that.
general.
Yeah.
There's way more things than just taxes. Like,
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that's not what we're teaching them. We don't teach those things. It's not even that a lot of schools don't even teach that stuff at all. It's not that it's not even required. They just don't even have it at
we
all.
brought that up when we were talking to Matador about the language stuff, about how they literally teach us nothing to help us get ahead of any other country / our own people in our own countries.
Yeah, and there's a lot of problems with the education system. I just think, like, my big issue is when you don't have education that helps people that need helped and that furthers people that are getting bored with their classes. I mean, from my experience in high school and in college, the smartest people, I won't say the smartest, the most intelligent people were not people that finish in the top 10 of the class.
No.
Like, people can argue with that, and I'm sure in some cases very intelligent people just do well and are driven.
Well,
But generally the most
like
I mean, there's studies on this too. Generally the most intelligent people get bored because the material is not interesting.
I mean, when you look at the standardized test scores, right? When you look at like the ACT scores and stuff, you know, like me and Jack had like 2 of the highest ACT scores in our class. Neither of us were high ranking in our class or went to college or anything.
Yeah.
And you know,
The education is so bad that we've talked about it back-to-back podcasts for like over a half hour.
well, you know, it's a good topic to talk about. I think.
There's just so much to complain about.
Matters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, I have a degree. I'm not saying everyone that goes to college is like dumb or whatever.
Well, no, but I think and I think the people that do go to college that don't necessarily need to learn things are going because that's what society makes them do.
Yeah.
you know?
that's why I went. Yeah. I mean, I recognize that it is not like if I wanted to do something else, I wouldn't have gone to college, right? But with my initial what I wanted to do, you have to, like, you just have to. You know what I mean? And it's just unfortunate. I just think, our education system lets a lot of people down and traps minds that could do pretty good stuff, and that is the opposite of what it should be. You know, I understand that you want to try to keep people on the same level, but the fact of the matter is people aren't on the same level, right? The mass of your people, yes, are going to fall within a standard deviation of 100 IQ, right? That's just how statistics
Our viewers
work.
actually spiked when we in the middle of the the education conversation.
Yeah.
We don't do this for the viewers.
Yeah, we really don't.
Nothing for views.
Nothing for views here.
Exactly. If we were doing this for views, I would have a 15-minute segment at the end of the podcast after everyone left the room where I would just try to chug a gallon of milk. Okay, people would like that. People would watch that.
Here's
but
the
I
thing,
don't do
like,
that, you know. It's okay.
We are like the three. We're 3 people that are very qualified to talk about this subject because we are all recently graduated from high school. When I say recently, I mean 5 years out, or less. And one college graduate, current college attendee, someone that didn't want to go to college, that despises college. So we have 3 very different aspects of.
I would probably
the
not
entire
go to
educational
college
system.
if I got paid to right now.
So here's the problem. You know what my biggest problem is? This applies to you. Obviously, I have friends that are computer science majors at school, programming, whatever. The amount that you knew more probably 5 years ago than they know when they have their degree happens 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, dude. I know a bunch of computer science like people at my school, and I would hire you.
And that's what I'm
way
saying
quicker than
when
them.
I say like people are getting into that field because it's just the hot thing to do that's gonna pay the most.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're not getting into it because they actually have an interest in it.
yeah.
Because if you're
or are
someone
good
if
at
you
it.
because
have an
they're
interest
skilled.
in it, I think it holds pretty true that people who are interested in that go into those classes having a vastly superior knowledge. I would say a lot of times people who are actually good computer scientists or will make good computer scientists know more than the teacher in the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard to argue with. That's generally, I didn't notice it as much at college, mostly because my professors have been in the field for 20 years and whatever.
I mean, it depends on what field you're studying.
Yeah, for sure. Right, like if you're a chemistry teacher, you are really smart. Like that's just a fact. But I definitely think that is the case in some majors where the person will go into the class knowing more than a professor. And that's
In high school, it's very clear.
again.
In a lot of my classes where I was like, I'm pretty sure I know more than this person. Actually, in the World Wars class I was talking about earlier, I knew significantly more than the professor that taught that, I think.
So,
and she acknowledged it too. She was talking to me about it like, you probably know more specifics than I do. Well, I've been studying that stuff for years.
When I was in English Comp, right, I took, this was English Comp 1. We had to write, the first paper we had to write was a 5-paragraph essay. You know, your typical 5-paragraph essay. So
those aren't used at all in college or in the professional
that was
world,
in college.
In real college. That is not a real college.
Well,
I can promise you that.
But anyways, I think it was a 5-paragraph essay.
Probably was.
But anyways, so I wrote. We didn't have any limit. We could pick our own topics. There was like limitations on the format of it, but not the content, right? And I wrote about the problems with the educational system and where I felt it failed at and everything. And like so there were a few times throughout my educational career that I put a lot of effort into something, right?
The trivia show.
And every time that I put a lot of effort into something, I got screwed, got a horrible grade or just a 0. And every time that I put 0 effort into something, I got an A.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked out, but like, so I wrote this paper, put a lot of time and effort into it, and I get a 0 because it was condescending towards school.
Is that wild?
And I kid you not, at that point, I didn't write another paper for that class.
I've got 0s on. Okay, so my religion class I was talking about earlier. There's one professor at school who literally just pushes his beliefs on people, right? Which is, I do not agree with that at all. At all.
No.
So he had us write this opinion piece about what we think about the certain situation that happened, and what we think it means, right? So obviously, wrote my opinion about it. Got a 0 on it because they didn't reflect his beliefs. Is literally what he put on the grade. And I was like, I went and had a conversation with him, like, dude, if you wanted me to mimic what you were saying, you could have just told me that and I would get an A on it. Like, it's not hard to do that. But you specifically said in the paper's rubric.
Well, it's called an opinion piece.
Yeah, he said, he literally in the paper was like, opinion piece. So I took that to my advisor and she's like, well, obviously you can't do that. And then it went higher. And then they're like, oh, but he can't do that though. And then
so
it's like,
you guys remember summer reading?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
no. Yeah, I definitely did summer reading.
No. So 10th grade.
I definitely didn't have my parents just sign off on it.
10th grade was the I think the only year that I actually read the book and like actually did it. For whatever reason, I don't remember why. I just
must have been a weird summer for you.
every once in a while I'd have a project that I just actually do.
Yeah.
Don't really know why, but I actually did it. I actually read the whole book, and you know I wrote everything about it. That my mom just posted in chat. This is what I'm talking about. So I read Huckleberry, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Right. I hate that book. I despise it. I don't want to read someone that I can barely understand. Right. Now I get the context of that book is the area they're from and that's how they talk there. That does not mean that I have to enjoy reading that and not understanding it and taking 5 minutes to understand a paragraph because they're talking with a dialect that I am not familiar with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I highlight this, you know, when I'm giving my presentation about the book, you know, literally the specific question on the outline or whatever was, did you like this book? Why or why not? I said no for the reasons that I just mentioned. I was told in the middle of my presentation to sit back down and I got a 0 because I was condescending towards the author.
That's insane.
And like I even
books,
explained.
dude.
I even explained when I was saying it. I'm like, I don't remember my exact wording, but I'm like, you know, while the dialogue is accurate to to the time period and the location and everything, it was very annoying to read, and it was hard to process. And like that's about the way I said it. Like, it wasn't like I'm just saying this book sucked because you can't understand anything. Like, I gave a pretty good reasoning, I feel like.
It's understandable.
And then we ended up, I was mad because it was one of the things that I actually did and put effort into. And, you know, I got my parents involved, and we go to the school board or whatever, and I eventually ended up getting, like, excluded from the assignment or whatever.
That's how to do it.
But
that's the way to do it for sure.
And then there's so much stupid stuff. Like, one time, Jack was he was sitting next to me in English class, same class, right? And they're walking around. We had to do this like about me assignment or something. You had to have like a picture of yourself and like a couple things around it.
Didn't
Jack,
do it.
She comes around. She's like walking up and down the desks, collecting the things or whatever. She gets to Jack's desk and he has nothing there, and she's like, "Well, you have to turn something in. You can't not turn something in." He pulls out a piece of notebook paper and draws a smiley face on it, and then scribbles some lines and hands it to her. And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Well, I turned it in." And she gave him a 0, and he's like, Mrs. Barry was our teacher the previous year, and he's like, "Come on, Mrs. Barry would have at least given me a 60% for that."
What class was that?
English.
Or I meant, who was the teacher?
Landers,
yeah. I remember that class. We did the debates, and I remember, I forget exactly what it was, but our debate was, wait, why is that?
I don't know.
What? 2? Why was that? Anyway, what? Lol. So what was it? So we were doing the debates, right? Do you remember doing that, Darren? In her class?
And she forced us to debate about a specific topic.
Yeah. So we had communism.
Yeah.
Right? And like, so there are several forms of communism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously there's the one, what is it? The manifesto, Communist Manifesto.
Karl Marx.
Right? That is, so anyway, like, that is the one that is generally used as the definition.
Mm-hmm.
But the key for my argument, and what enabled me to do like 5 minutes.
So you were arguing for communism?
Yeah. So what enabled me to do 5 minutes for the entire project was just looking up different forms of communism, and then being like, well, she didn't specify, and then using that on the last day after all of their arguments and being like, well, she didn't specify which form of communism, and all of the points that you were talking about why it's bad do not line up with this form of communism, and this is why this form is good. And I had the last closing argument, and she was just like, hard to argue with. So it was just like a technicality because it wasn't Marxism. And she made it a tie. She called it a tie. And I was like, no, like, that's not a tie. Like, I refuted everything they said and then said why it was good. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, it's a tie. And I'm like, I'm not doing homework the rest of the year.
So me and Jack in that class had to argue against communism. And I would say that if anyone was going to argue for communism in our class, me and Jack were the best two for it.
Did you just play the, like, national anthem, the Russian national anthem?
No, we had to argue against it.
Well,
and
that's dumb.
Mike had to argue for it.
Hey, dude, my dude.
Now, if you know, these are like two. We should have been flip-flopped, 100%.
Yeah.
But the whole problem I had with it is we're debating a topic and we are being forced to debate for one side that we don't necessarily agree with, because there are a lot of points in communism and certain forms of communism that I agree with. I do not agree with the current implementations of any government's form of communism. No. But there are a lot of points in different forms of communism that I think are very good. Not that they would necessarily work in our society, but in theory. So, I mean, and then you got Mike on the other hand, who is like, if you could just think of like the stereotypical, like, you know, got my flag, I'm joining the army the day I can, you know, hardcore patriot. That's Mike, right? And
Class
he's
prize,
being
by the way.
forced to argue for communism. So it made no sense to me.
And that is a summary of why education is flawed. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to close that. We're going to move on to one of our actual topics for the week with half an hour left.
When do we ever get to our actual topics?
Remember last week when I did like 4 topics in the last like 30 seconds?
Yeah, that's gonna happen again.
Did you talk about your game?
Hmm?
Okay. I think it doesn't look that good. It looks unrefined to pay $25 for, but it's the only new game we played this week.
Early access, so.
So
Let me just say, a game being early access is not an
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
unpolished.
The game does not look good visually, but it actually works. Unlike PUBG, which looks visually crap and plays even worse somehow.
hard to argue with. So let's see. I did want to talk about Guardian Con. That and Prime Day are really the only two I kind of care about. So if you don't know what Guardian Con is, effectively, let me see if I can find this link so I can give it a good do it. It's due diligence. Got it. Guardian Con is a 2-day gaming convention located in Tampa, Florida. The focus of the convention is the week-long charity gaming marathon, which is what we will be mainly talking about. Benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital that occurs the week prior. And then the convention consists of activities, special guest food, et cetera, et cetera. So effectively, it's just like a gaming thing that they do to help raise money. Imagine kind of like speed games done quick, but not speed running. Mm-hmm. They just play random. I think they did like Fortnite, obviously, because how could you have a gaming thing without Fortnite in 2018? But anyway, the main point that I wanted to talk about. So basically, what they did the week before, they had just blocks each day. I think as a streamer, you would get like a 4-hour block, and then during that time, is it 4 hours? I think it was 4 hours.
3 or 4.
Yeah. And basically, anyone that would donate during your block, it would go to your name, and then all of that goes obviously to St. Jude's. That raised $2.7 million in a week. I think the highest grossing was Dr. Lupo. I think he had just around 360,000. My boy Tim the Tapman
block.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's so dumb.
That's actually insane. Ninja did. I think he was probably the second highest. He was around 250.
It's
Someone
because
did
Doc
100,000.
It's because Doc used his son.
Was it
Young Charles
Mr.
was there.
Beast that donated?
What's that?
Was it Mr.
No,
Beast?
it was a Mr. Beast did donate though,
Did
like 5,000, I think, or something. The person that
'Cause I thought I
donated,
saw Mr. Beast
The 100K
video
one
that
was-
donated 50.
The 100K one was Ninja, wasn't it?
well, someone
Under
donated
anonymous.
100 to Ninja. I was trying to figure out who it was. I don't know who. Maybe it was just Ninja. I don't know.
He's got enough money.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's very, very plausible that it was just his wife doing it from
Yeah.
like another computer. And
Right.
Just,
Yeah.
you know.
But Lupo's stream was really
Yeah.
Did you
good.
say they bought a mansion? Ninja did.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast's newest video from a day ago was I
Yeah.
donated $50,000 to Ninja.
I did see some. How much?
50,000.
Okay.
I don't know if that was at that event, but
yeah, I would assume not.
Ninja was certainly doing a charity thing. Mr. Beast has donated a lot to him before
Yeah.
when he's doing charity things. I don't think that Mr. Beast would give Ninja $50,000.
He doesn't need $50,000.
I mean, maybe that's the case, but if that's true, he only raised like 250,000. So with that 50,000, the other 100,000 means he only raised 100K.
That
maybe.
seems low for Ninja.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't
Dr.
know.
Lupo's stream was really good. He had his son playing for a while, and it was good. It was good.
It was very fun.
Tim, our boy Timmy.
I can't wait for the workout stream.
Tim
Can't
should have
wait
had
for-
Brute Force Brian on there.
Oh, brute force Brian.
Dude, we need the Overwatch,
Infamous,
the
the one-
Overwatch stream, and the workout stream. Tim the Tapman.
Yes. I think he's doing the Overwatch stream tonight.
Oh.
By the way.
Are we gonna play Overwatch?
in 2000.
Are we gonna play Overwatch and watch Tim play Overwatch?
Yes.
And just be
Correct.
super happy about how our lives are so much better than Tim's because he hates Overwatch so much.
He does. He despises it.
Dude, I want him and Moon and Laz all to play and then just talk about how much they hate the game when they're playing it. Like, it's gonna be great.
Speaking of Overwatch and donating, I don't know if we might have hit on this last week.
We talked about it. a couple
Yeah,
weeks
I
back.
think we did.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Then I won't talk about it.
No, I didn't talk
Pink
about it,
Mercy, the skin and T-shirts and stuff that they did. Did you see
Yeah.
how much that hit? $13 million in a dead game. Like, I was impressed. I was like, wow, I didn't know. I thought they were going to raise zero. I didn't know anyone still played Overwatch.
Game of the week from last week already re-dead.
Dead again.
Games die in 2 days in 2018.
There's
honestly.
a sorry. I just
They
yelled.
die and get revived every other week.
There was a funny Twitch clip of Tim's. This was probably a year ago, and it was after Jeff's video talking about how just everyone's toxic, and Tim changed his name to Positimothy,
Yeah.
and he's like he's hyping up this first game, and he's like, Jeff says we're all toxic as hell, and we need to just brighten up and be positive in our game. And he goes in chat, and he's like, let's get a win, smile. And I can't say what the guy replied to him with, but it was just
Yeah. It literally
was
perfectly
Overwatch.
encapsulated what Overwatch is like. And I've actually
such a good clip.
I've
though.
noticed that it's better with the group stuff.
Sometimes.
As far as straight up toxicity against your teammates go. Mostly because you're forced to play a role. So there's no I can do better than this. What me and Darren's argument when we have to play healer or tanks, where is the damage,
but,
please?
The other night I hopped on Overwatch for like 2 or 3 games, and I was looking for group, and I used a different group all 3 times because I got into groups. Everybody seemed like they were cool. Before we got into a game, we get into a game, we get stomped on, and then everybody just becomes super toxic.
Yeah.
And
it's like
and one of the groups
blaming.
didn't have roles enforced, so they had what the rules were set to, but they weren't enforced. And we started out with 2-2-2. People were playing their actual roles, but what was I saying? Then we lost, we got stomped, and then we just
this guy. That's just rude.
That's what broke me for a second.
Wow.
That's
dude.
rude, Tyrone. You better calm down.
Tyrone will choke
dude.
you out, dude.
You better calm down, or you're gonna get banned. I'm just kidding. Finish your story.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, it just.
I mean,
once
I literally played a
once we
Overwatch
lost,
game.
people just became super toxic. Everybody went deeps, and it was game over.
I literally just played an Overwatch game before we started playing. Jumped on, played one.
Look here.
Played a tank because why not? And then started playing Diva. We won the match, and then everyone was like cool about it or whatever. But they didn't have role enforced, so the first time the other tank was supposed to be playing another tank, just auto locked Pharah, and we're just like,
Goodbye.
okay.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate your time. Banhammer, let's go. Probably gonna have to lower the audio at that point. Sorry, headphone users. By the way, we had a segment about Prime Day. I'm looking at deals right now, just for the end of the episode thing, little rapid fire. There's a TV that is a 720p smart TV. Now what happened? Are you just what?
You said 720p TV in 2018.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
720p Roku smart TV. Is that a joke? I didn't think you could use those two things in the same sentence.
Darren just died because he had 720p.
Like,
I thought he was laughing at something else, so he just started busting up laughing. Oh, that's good stuff, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I might get this fan, considering my one fan is dead.
I need a grill, dude. That's what I need.
There was another big meme earlier. I saw some DDR3 1333 RAM. What do you think about that, Darren?
I just.
Like there are some companies that are just holding on for dear life and hoping to God Prime Day saves their company, and it's just not gonna go well. That's what we should have done. We should have went and raided the gym, just got all this DDR2 and just posted for Prime Day, see if anyone bought it, dude. That would have been lit. I remember when we were taking apart some of those computers and I saw DDR and I didn't know that was a thing. Like I wasn't. Like I didn't know.
You just thought it started with 3.
Like I just didn't know. I didn't know 3 was like a number like in a series. I was just like, oh, 3 must mean something. Like I didn't know DDR. I'm just like DDR. God, I'm too. What is it? Old, young? I don't know. One of those things. Young. Like, could you imagine? Like, how bad is that in comparison to DDR4? We're not going to talk about this.
Ben
right
had DDR2 in the basement.
Like, that's what was in his computer.
Mm-hmm. And that was only 4 years ago.
No longer than that.
Wow.
It's been longer. That's
I mean,
been like
he had
6 years.
DDR2 when I had DDR4.
It's been almost 6 years since
That's
the basement.
wild.
Yeah.
But he also uses Linux.
I mean,
And he also
he
has a
plays
trash
Dwarf
computer.
Fortress and he used
Well,
DDR2.
That's hard to argue with.
Have you found any real good Prime offers? Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't really looked.
I've been monitoring it. So the problem
I don't
right
even
now.
know how to get there on my phone, dude.
Those of us that aren't poor, we just buy stuff whenever we want it.
Here we go. Here we go. Darren is entering in the second arc of his not poor phase, guys.
Darren, you won't buy me another computer?
Yeah, I really need that third monitor. I sent you the link earlier. if you're interested. I mean, you're so not poor right now. There's nothing real crazy right now. Let's see upcoming. Oh, this is upcoming. Most of the deals are going to start hitting tomorrow. These early deals are pretty garbage. I saw some decent stuff earlier, but the ones that are live right now are not great.
Dude, I can get the Trigun complete series box set for $14.99.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
agree.
is at all.
I don't
But
know. I've never.
If you want to.
I'm about it, dude. Uh-oh.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
And then you can pick.
Oh,
right now
dude,
upcoming.
Cody's revolutionary.
Yeah, dude.
What are these compression foot sleeves, dude?
So
Starts
anyway,
in 3 minutes.
So anyway, let's try to save shopping for after the podcast, boys. Okay, high octane content. What else do we even really have? Epic is giving Unreal Marketplace creators a big raise. I guess you can call it a raise.
So
I don't know if you saw
the
this.
interesting thing about this, so what we're talking about is Epic made the Unreal Marketplace. It used to be a 70. I think it was a 70/30
70/30.
cut. Now it's an 88/12 cut. Epic said that because of the success of Fortnite, they're able to bring some of that profit to Unreal Engine creators through doing this. But the interesting thing about this is not only is this the new model going forwards, they are retroactively paying developers.
Oh, really?
So if you sold stuff on the marketplace before this, they are now going back as far as 2014 transactions in 2014 and paying the
Really?
difference. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
hmm
That's got to be a ton of money.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but they
Paying
make
out.
$300 million a month off Fortnite. So
That's insane. I wonder how much they're gonna make off this month because of the new season and stuff. I bet
Yeah.
it's insane.
yeah,
I bet they make 500 million. Plus, with was Speed Games done quick this month?
I don't know.
That's not Fortnite, but that's game stuff. People just play games when gaming, and then Guardian Con just happened too. I bet they make 500 million. this month.
Money.
So I mean,
That's
they're
just insane for a free game.
yeah.
The dream.
But
Mm.
with that discount to the marketplace and stuff, that kind of goes along with them, releasing Unreal Engine 4 for free and everything. The more
Yeah.
the people are able to succeed with the engine, the more successful they're going to be. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they, if this Fortnite train keeps rolling, and
Into another game.
with the success of Unreal Engine, I mean, you think they're making $300 million a month from Fortnite, but you got to think their marketplace sales they're making money from, Unreal Engine royalties. I mean, how many
And
games
PUBG.
use Unreal Engine?
I mean, that's the big one I can think of. But
there's
a ton on
huge
console.
games that use
Hundreds.
there
Thousands
are
of games.
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of
yeah.
games that use.
Well, I'm just
Unreal
trying to think of recent
But,
ones.
yeah.
I mean, older.
I mean,
yeah,
Engine. And anything that makes over $3,000 from it has to pay them 5% royalties.
yeah. Unless
So-
they negotiate.
Yeah, but
assuming 5%.
Yeah.
That's
So
insane.
I mean, they're not just making the money from Fortnite, even though that alone is absurd.
Right.
And it's a really smart business model because realistically, they can just the amount of staffing they actually need is so minimal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they just have all of this retroactive income
Mhm.
just coming in, and they don't have to do anything. I mean, yeah, you need people to make sure that Unreal Engine stays, competitive and whatever, and you got one guy and modeling a gun to put into Fortnite every week. I mean, obviously there's a lot more than that, but their model for making money is very kind of hands off. They're just like, we'll just kind of put this out there and it's going to make us money because it's better than every other free option, whether it be Fortnite.
It's better
or
than
Unreal
every
Engine.
paid option.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine is by far the most technologically advanced game engine in existence. Like, hands down, including all proprietary engines.
Really?
Yes.
It's lit.
It's pretty wild. Why do so many? So here's my question: why do so many people use Unity over Unreal Engine? Is Unity for mobile more? Like mobile games more? I don't know.
There's a few reasons that you would use Unity over Unreal Engine. If you're making a 2D game, I'm almost always going to recommend Unity. You can do it on Unreal, and it's getting better. They're adding more support for it and stuff. But if you're making 2D, generally Unity has better systems for that. Okay. And I haven't used Unity myself, right? But I know somewhat what they offer, right? But it generally performs better on mobile just because it has a lower overhead, or I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for, but so Unreal Engine doesn't do well on Android. Right. It does okay on iOS, but Unreal Engine's a big engine, and it shows when you're on mobile. It performs very well on iOS, but iOS is obviously a lot more optimized because it only serves a specific set of hardware. Android serves, I don't even know how many sets of hardware, right? Yeah. So it's not nearly as optimized. So it has a lot harder time running Unreal Engine. So I could see you using Unity for that. And Unity is good in its own right. I mean, it's not like it's bad. I would say that Unity is one of the best engines out there. Personally, I think Unreal Engine's better, but it really just depends on personal preference. A lot of people have been using Unity for a long time. It's what they know. They don't want to switch, and Unity can do everything they want to do. So, it's
I see it a lot on our Twitter feed because I follow like a lot of the indie guys and stuff that have been following us and whatnot, and like it seems like a large majority of them use Unity, probably for that reason. A lot of them are making a bit simpler.
It depends on personal preference too, with how you like to program, right? So Unreal Engine doesn't have any scripting, right? It's either you're using C++ or you're using visual scripting. Okay. Unity kind of lands in the middle, right? I don't think that you can do source code stuff with Unity. Like you can't do C++ optimizations and things like that. You're in the middle, right? So you have the visual scripting with Unreal Engine, and that is equally as powerful as scripting. In Unity, it's just visual, not with a programming language. Right. In Unity, you use C# or JavaScript to control the engine. Okay. So it's kind of like a personal preference thing. Some people don't like visual scripting. Gotcha. It's whatever. But I mean, each engine has their strengths, I think. Sure. Obviously, I prefer Unreal Engine, but there are many people that prefer Unity. So. The competition is healthy. I mean, it keeps them. It keeps them, constantly driving new technology and stuff. But.
So, what is the main reason for like AAA studios to have their own like proprietary engines? Is it just because they're more catered to the games the kind of games they make, and Unreal Engine is more general?
I wouldn't really. I don't know if I'd say that because here's the thing. So like.
Q&A, by the way, I guess.
Companies like Activision, Blizzard, etc. They I think it comes from a long tradition of not having something like Unreal Engine, where
what is Overwatch made?
Its own custom engine. Yeah, they made a new engine for it. So they make these, their own proprietary engines, partially because they don't depend on a third party. Then. They don't have to pay royalties to a third party. They don't have to pay a licensing fee. Yeah. So, there didn't used to be things like Unreal Engine or Unity. They used to all just be proprietary. Even Unreal Engine. If you weren't a multi-million-dollar game studio, you weren't using Unreal Engine. Yeah. So it's I think you'll start to see a change. I think we're seeing more big studios use Unreal Engine now. Right. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of it comes from tradition. That's just how they've done it. And a lot of studios, like if you look at Call of Duty, I don't know anything necessarily about their development, but if I had to take a guess, they've been developing the same engine over a long time, and they've got, you know, the people that work on the game know this engine and they're familiar with it, so why change it, right?
Yeah.
When you could just keep supporting this one, and they
Especially when
have
it's
the
doing
money
the
to
same
do
stuff.
that. You know, I think if you were gonna make a new game, you know, if a studio that wasn't already established and had their own engine was gonna make a new game, it would be incredibly stupid, I think, to make your own engine. Depending on the type of game you're making. If you're making a small 2D game, I don't really see a problem with that. But if you're making this big blockbuster 3D title, it doesn't make sense to me why you would invest in making your own engine when there are things like Unreal Engine and Unity. That, you know, Unreal Engine might not be the best for every use case. If you look at like RTSs, MMOs, things like that, not saying that it can't do it. It can perfectly well. But it's not going to be like an out-of-the-box thing, right? So Unreal Engine out-of-the-box best does real-time multiplayer, right? That's kind of its strong point. It can be catered to do RTS or MMO or things like that, but you know, it's going to require a little bit of work to the engine, right?
Right.
So it can be done, and I still think it's worth it to use the engine for that, but you have to keep in mind that you are going to have to do some work to the engine in order to make a good system for that.
That makes sense. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is just an interesting one. What?
Thought I heard something downstairs.
Probably
Probably
did.
the
Probably
cats.
Carlos jumping off the top row. Watch out! Watch out! Watch
It
out!
could be thundering outside too. There's supposed to be a storm rolling through. But
Maybe.
anyways, continue.
So this was an interesting topic that I think we had maybe talked about this in one of our very early episodes, like similar. I don't know who, but someone did a study in the UK, maybe. Yeah, someone did a study. I don't know who it is.
Piggy 18.
Where they surveyed 2,000 parents across the UK to see what parents thought about the ESRB's ratings on games and how much attention they paid to them. 86% of parents admitted they do not pay attention to age restrictions on games versus 23% who stated that they do pay attention to those ratings for films. So that is the same sample size, 86% to 23%. I don't necessarily care about the movie numbers much, but I thought it was an interesting topic.
Contrast.
Yeah, like I think I would argue that like a GTA for a 4-year-old would have more of an impact than a horror movie.
Well, I'm way more immersed in a video game than I am in a movie.
Right.
I
I
love
think
films.
generally.
I love films, but
Well, here's the thing too. I think you have to ask the question. I don't know if they asked this question. Do they follow those ratings? So obviously M
So
is
this is-
17 plus, right? Do they follow that rating, or are they just aware of that rating and, you know,
So here's
there to, you know,
the
demonstrate
direct
that
quote.
this is a game to their kid?
86% of parents admitted they do not pay attention to age restrictions on games, compared to just 23% who say they don't follow similar guidelines for films. Indeed, just 18% of parents said they would let a 10 to 14-year-old child watch an 18-rated movie.
I mean, I played GTA when I was like 6.
Yeah, and you're broken now, so thanks for proving my point, I guess. No.
I think it's interesting because my parents back in the day, back in the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 days, were very like, you're not allowed to play T games until you're like, I don't remember. I think I broke through at 12. You know.
I think it's all in. I mean, I think it's a judgment call. I'm not saying that every kid is going to be capable of playing an M-rated game when they're 10 years old,
Right.
for example. But I think it's a judgment call on the parents' part to, one, and inform and educate their kids that, you know, this, you shooting this person on the sidewalk and throwing them in front of a car in GTA is not real life.
Yeah.
You know,
It's also like-
But you're operating under the assumption that the parents care, right?
It also
That's kind of the
is
whole
like-
point of
yeah.
this survey is that the parents don't really care.
It's like a parenting
So-
style too issue where, you know, I'm not going to force my kid not to play this game if he wants to type
So-
situation.
so I
stuff
think-
like that.
I think you run into the problem with that is, for example, I mean, this is an extreme example, but you live in a kid lives in an environment that is, you know, aggressive, maybe, you know, parents doing something they shouldn't, and while all this is going on, they're sitting in the room alone playing GTA for 6 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Right. Like obviously most kids don't necessarily grow up with typical childhood, and I think that has to be kind of addressed too. You have these households where like I can't say that video game developers have to be held responsible because they're taking all the precautions that they can. I don't know what the best option is. If the parent's buying the game, then what are you going to do? You know, they take the precautions they can. But it's interesting, like you just run into that problem where parents aren't explaining it or just,
Well, I think
all
when
your friends are playing the game.
Even if you don't look at the rating, right? If a parent buys Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
doesn't look at the rating at all. The game is called Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be like an indicator that, you know, it might have a little bit more mature themes.
And it has a picture on the front
yeah.
of half naked women
Yes.
Yeah.
and guns.
So, but there are,
Yeah.
I mean, there's cases too where that isn't the case, where covers are rather, you know, just
Now,
kind of
I-
mundane.
Something I find
Yeah.
interesting is like, you look at, let's compare like Halo to Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
right? These are two M-rated games that I played in my childhood, right? I don't know that I would say that Halo should be M-rated. I don't know that violence and shooting warrants an M rating,
No.
right? I do not think that is that mature of a topic, especially, and it depends on the context that you put it in, right? Violence and shooting in Grand Theft Auto is a very mature theme. Violence and shooting in Halo, not so much.
Yeah.
Because
and
you're
not
you're
real
fighting
blood
a
and-
fictional war against aliens. You know,
It's
you know,
all like
it's
significantly
very
changed as
it's
well.
very obvious that this is not how real life works. When you play Grand Theft Auto and you get these guns and you're just murdering people in the street, it's somewhat of a realistic representation of things that you could do in real life, right? And so I think it becomes a more mature concept. But
Yeah.
I think that just saying violence does not do it justice.
We see this like a lot with movies to where my parents always talked about how like the R rating has changed significantly in movies.
Yeah, but I played other games. I mean, like you bought me Halo.
There you go.
Gears.
You know, I mean,
Gears of War.
and like I said, they're two very different contexts. But
The change in the rating has seen more in movies because video games weren't around, obviously, to the extent they are now. But like, for example, I remember like Cujo, that movie is about the dog the demon dog that kills people, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's rated R. But to this like current standards, it would not be. It would be like PG-13.
Yeah.
But it was rated R because it had like the F word once, and you saw a female's back.
and I think a lot of
It's
so when
crazy
people
how it's
try to
changed.
blame like violent people will try to blame violent acts, right, in real life on video games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff.
Oh yeah. It has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
I feel like now I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but I feel like the game is a contributor in certain scenarios, right? So let's say like what you were saying earlier, a child is already in a bad situation,
Yeah.
right? They're in an abusive home. You know, they see this stuff on the daily, right? And so they have I guess you could say like a pre-existing condition to commit violent acts,
Yeah.
right? And then the game puts specific violent acts, gives them specific violent acts, right? So I do not agree that the game causes people to be violent.
Yeah.
I think that
Doesn't.
the game might, in some situations, give violent people ideas,
I think
but
it's possible.
but I don't think that that's necessarily a problem because they're gonna get violent ideas from movies, games, the news. You know, you watch Fox News, and you see 10 school shootings a week.
Yeah.
You know, So it's not the problem of the game. I do agree that pre-existing violent people might get ideas from them, but that's not to say that they don't get them from any other avenue in life.
Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Glenn for ruining Darren's life.
So I kind of want to hit on this actually really quick. Your mom brings up a good point. Don't blame the game. It has to do with the way neurons connected or did not connect from the time they were a baby. So it's kind of talking about neuroplasticity. So in some ways you're kind of right. In other ways, so you are right that there are some neural pathways that are established and whatever. All of those can be changed. That is just a fact. They all do change. I think your brain, I forget exactly I'm not going to say it because I'm not sure, but that is just a fact. Like literally everything that happens rewires something in your brain effectively. But you are right, kind of with if I'm reading it right, basically saying that, what is the proper word? I don't want to say premeditated, right? But there's some pre-established thing, right? So I don't think it's like normal person game mass murder. I think it's like shook person maybe video game mass shooting.
Yeah.
Right. I think there has to be something that is established. I don't think someone is just playing a game and is like, I don't think it's like that South Park episode where you just read a book and, one time you're totally fine, then the next moment the Kardashians are dead. I don't think that's how it goes, but yeah, I definitely don't think the game is to blame. I think if everything else is fine, playing a game is fine too.
Yeah,
but I agree with your statement.
Because I can play a game like Grand Theft Auto and I can go kill people in the street.
Yeah,
and I can differentiate that this is a video game and that it's not okay for me to just go kill people, right?
Yeah. So I think it might solidify the idea, though, right? So if you have someone that is, I don't know, we'll say depressed, and we'll use school shootings as an example, and they're thinking about it, and then they go and play, I don't know,
active shooter.
Yeah. Okay, maybe they're like, oh wow, look, like this gives me, this solidifies whatever was wrong in the first place, right? I think that's a possibility. I think it's unfortunate, but yeah,
I don't know
you can't blame the game.
I don't know that you blame the game for that.
No.
For solidifying it either, because people blame games a lot, right? Way more than anything else. And I think the games can do that. I'm not saying they can't, but they can do it in the exact same capacity that movies or just the news, real life events do.
Well, yeah, no one blames the news, but the news is constantly reporting.
I think
on
the
them.
news and the media are the biggest contributors.
Listen, video games are just an escape for people to place the blame because they don't want to actually change anything that's happening. It's not like, oh, we actually believe that these video games are causing all these shootings. It's, I need to blame something.
That's fair.
So that I don't have to do anything about it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I think the driving force behind why these things happen is the misrepresentation in media. I think 100% that's the reason why. If people aren't receiving
do you agree with that, Cody?
Kinda. But also no, negative experiences have just as much of an impact, if not more, than positive, as far as my understanding goes. Yeah, I might be wrong, but as far as my understanding goes, I don't understand what these words are.
Automod is crazy. What is sexual?
Well, what
about
even
that?
is Automod? We should just turn that off because that is not Nightbot.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the thing that Twitch just does. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there are like Twitch commands and then there's Nightbot commands. So I think we might just deactivate whatever. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, I'm almost certain that negative things might build stronger neural links. Might be wrong.
Well, I think that
But
that
they
kind
for
of
sure
relates
do.
to anything with negative and positive things that happen,
Mhm.
right? If you look at like, I think this is a pretty general thing that if you look at like the workplace, right, you can do. I think this is pretty standard across many companies. You can do 500 really great things, and then you mess up one thing, but everybody remembers the one thing you mess up,
Yeah.
right? I think that's true in almost everything.
So there was a study that I read about, and I'm not going to remember because there was like 18 people, and whatever, it was like 3 years ago, that kind of talked about how negative versus positive experiences are remembered by the human mind, and how they're weighed. And it was very interesting to see the difference between how much, like, so for example, I forget exactly how the study worked, but basically what they found was that the mind will much more easily remember negative. Oh, I remember what it was. So here's what they did. They basically implanted memories into people's brains, had their parents kind of, talk about them to make them think that they existed, and then they did like a memory recall to see which memories they remembered more. And what ended up happening was they remembered them being left at a mall as a kid, which didn't happen, versus a birthday party or something like that. So it didn't prove that the brain remembers negative things, but it suggested that there's something there that isn't necessarily how it should be, I guess. But it's 8:06. Do we want to go ahead and wrap it up? I think we're all satisfied.
Should you do a 30-second finish of all the things that we had?
Yeah, so let's just run through this real quick. Okay.
If there even is anything. What else is there?
Yeah, I think we actually kind of hit on most.
Oh, the Instaban one.
Stuff. Ubisoft implemented a new feature into Rainbow Six to Instaban people that are using racial slurs in chat, or not racial, just slurs in general. I talked about that last week. Elon is our Lord and Savior. We talked about that. And also probably stop using Chrome because apparently they are going to be upping their RAM usage.
Well, here's the thing
Chrome's
about that,
trash.
if I can, real quick
Yeah,
before
real
we
quick.
head out. I mean, when you say stop using Chrome, the problem is that Chrome is becoming Internet Explorer, and a lot of websites you won't even be able to use unless you're using Chrome.
It's crazy.
And
Why
I
is it
mean,
so
it's just got
trash,
such
though?
a high market share, and what it's going to take is a better one replacing it, and right now there's not a better replacement.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Chrome uses a lot of memory, but it's really, I mean, if you've got a decent computer, it's not that big of an issue.
Yeah.
So you
so
won't be able
annoying.
to deal with it?
The funny part is you can't.
Ban Ian.
The funny part is you can't even say my computer wasn't a RAM problem because it was.
Wow.
Well. So we're gonna end the podcast on that note. If you enjoyed the podcast, feel free to hit that heart right above your video feed there. We go live every Sunday at 6:00 with our podcast, and Darren also does a few game development streams during the week as well. Those are more random, so if you want to know when those happen, you have to hit the follow button.
Follow it.
Beyond that, if you are curious about our game or interested, we recently posted a new Patreon campaign, so you can go support the game there. I believe every level, the 25 and up, will get access to early development models of the game. So if you want in on that, effectively a beta tester, you can go head over there and decide what level's right for you. Beyond that, we have YouTube content coming this week. I think we're going to do a short developer update. Also, head on over to the Twitter. We're doing some pretty cool things over there. And with a recent acquisition onto our team, I think we'll have a lot more content to be putting up there as well. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed, I hope to see you next week, Sunday at 6.
Look forward to Darren